Hey Keith, sound check, sound check. Can you hear me? Good, good, good. Hey Blue Joy, good to see you. Ed is coming on shortly.
Hi, welcome back to Gamescape 3D. Today we're going to quickly go over this month's assets we're releasing. We're going to start here with the
Hope everyone's doing well. I haven't set it up yet, Blue Joy. Give me 3 to 5 here. I'm just doing prep work, shout outs and all that.
It's 2 stories with 1 3-story
But I
tower.
will get to it. Yeah.
All the roofs are cut.
We're going to do a classic D&D reprint giveaway tonight. We'll have some good stuff.
Primary light for this building is going to come through these windows here.
Fun times.
And I have
and for me,
FDM
another day.
frames that you can do resin pours into. So here's an example of one of those windows.
And Ed, I'm waiting for both. I think I told Ed like 6:50, and Ed's usually like punctual.
Then it was hardened. When you go to
Ed
use
is usually
these,
dead on time.
Is use blue tape like this. Put your windows down like that. That'll keep the resin from pouring everywhere. Then you can go ahead and fill those crevices with a syringe, and then just put it on your UV light table and harden it up. Okay.
Here they both come. Look at
some
that.
cracks when you go peeling off the back, but it should leave you with some air bubbles and things like that, so you'll have a pretty authentic looking medieval.
Ring-a-ling-a-ling. Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Right.
For you,
What's up, Ed?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
And we just have arrow
Hi,
slot
Anna.
windows in there.
Hello.
Now for the arrow slots.
So Ed, did you get the time slots so that some other people don't reserve your time at GaryCon like they did last year? For
Well, Josh sent me a heads up email,
good.
and I discussed it with Ivan. I don't know that he's gone in and done anything.
Okay.
I should probably go in. And okay, yours is Saturday what?
Saturday 9 to 1.
9 to 1.
And then the seminar you, me, and Anna have is Friday 2 to 4.
3 8-inch rooms.
Okay, I'll
This
put
one's
those
a little
in
bit
here
bigger.
right now.
Awesome. Hey
We
Patrick.
have, fireplaces
Friday,
in 2 of these rooms.
9 to
I
1,
have
9 a.m. to
included,
1. Yep, just
one
Saturday. Saturday
fireplace
9 to
and
1 for the
printed
game.
to add more
For 2 drinking room,
fireplaces in
and
this
the seminar
building.
for the 3 of us is
Now, what you'll see
Friday
here
2 to 4.
Is I have
Okay.
Yep.
wood shutters
Um,
put in right
And that'll
here.
be
These
on
are 2-part
crossing over
wood
portals,
shutters.
all that fun stuff that
Okay.
you
Oh.
already did.
Will
Yeah, the one you
open.
said, hey,
The
yeah,
shutters are just held on by
they're more
gluing this
connected than you
frame
think,
into
right?
place.
Yeah.
What you wanna
Yeah.
do
That'd be
is
a
put
fun
your
one, a little
super glue
different.
on the building,
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
With
Just
the building
trying to get,
laying
with
down,
me
and then
counting down the
slide
clock
these
here, I want to make
shutters
sure that I get
into
as much done
place
as I can,
with
and
the
all
door
updated and all. I
frame
got all my games
assembled.
in.
Okay.
Darling's playing with
If
you
try to
this
put the
year.
glue
She's going to
on
be
the
playing
shutter,
with 2
you're just
drink
gonna
minimum
end
this
up with
time.
the glue all over
Oh,
your
why?
fingers.
My goodness, I'll have
Which
to
I
behave
learned
and
the hard
everything.
I doubt that.
No, Ed, you don't have to behave. Just be Ed, and she will be very happy.
Well, just don't be up till 4 o'clock in the morning the night before.
Well, yes, there
We're
is
gonna have
that.
some of these
Although
arrow
there's
slot
this thing
windows
called
and frames.
Viagra. I can be up till
Oh, yes.
One
I used the generic term.
basement chamber.
Yes.
Sit there
yes.
for a little, whatever.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
awesome.
Each one has
Yeah, I
Yes.
feel very generic
exterior
these days.
door.
Well,
Okay. And that is
Oh,
something
dear.
that I took
yeah,
from
isn't it? Yeah,
the
always
Central
fun times with Ed. We're going to have a
Colorado
blast tonight. We'll have a great
inspired by,
discussion.
the
Yeah.
I got
space
a
for
new
this
Jeremy
line,
video I'm
and the
showing
other
here.
one
He's
are a
building
little
his
bit different.
Knight's Hold.
So be
Yeah,
aware of that.
so
Otherwise, you're going to have the same
Cool.
window and shutter features available. This
Ooh.
one has a wood shingle roof
Ooh,
instead of a thatch
Look at all
roof.
this wonderful stuff.
And it is
Yeah.
just slightly smaller.
You see, when you're
so
working
there's a
games,
roof.
you can't afford any of this stuff.
Anyways, so this one's a little bit
Very
smaller.
true.
We got 2
Yeah.
room
That's why I got a
chamber,
ton of good
great column,
sponsors.
Secondary, bedroom or office, whatever you want it to be.
that's the way you afford
Typically
it.
in these
Yeah.
great
Oh, I love
halls,
that-
your
that little
meeting room,
hinged
your
ramp.
kitchen,
Oh yeah, all the
your
stuff he
living
does
room,
is
it's
genius. I
smaller
mean,
than
and
that.
like all the stuff I had out Thursday night and
multi-purpose rooms.
Thursday and
Right.
Saturday were just yesterday
If you're
was
wondering where
was
the
all
kitchen is,
a lot of it was his.
that's
So
it.
good to see so
And,
many people on.
again,
It is an
so
Ed
much
one
to
here,
go
so
about.
yes.
I did install a
Uh-oh.
fireplace.
Well,
down
I
here if you want to use
let me
this
do this
larger
one
room as
thing,
like
if
a
you don't
guest
mind. I
room.
did put something on your Discord, but I'm going to put another one back on
Otherwise,
your
yeah, 2
Discord.
chambers.
Dun, dun,
You
dun.
know, just so, and there's a lot of
Alright,
people there,
home
so
time.
I'll just do that. I'll just recopy
This
it
is
without the
taller than
pictures.
the
Sure.
other barn,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
Thank you,
quite as
thank you.
large. We got double doors that open right
This
there.
is
We
good.
also have
Yes.
a
No,
hairloft door
I
up
want
here.
my
Yeah.
people to get out and see the world.
Yep.
Okay.
Because there will become a day when I'm not
This
in it,
roof is
so they better
available
have
Well-
something
2
else to do.
parts or 1
you know.
part, depending on your tolerance for
Without being, like
printing
morbid
times.
about it.
Yes,
You
yeah.
can go down
I know
here.
I've had
We
those
have a
morbid
hay
talks
loft
with my
level
wife
if you
lately,
wanna
so
use that. You
I
can
know
use
you're
one of
saying
the
everything's gonna be
ladders
fine, but just in
in
case, you
your
know.
Introduction set.
Everything's going to be
If you want
fine.
a ladder coming up here
That's what everyone's telling me.
or in the middle.
Yes, they do this all the time, Jay.
There's
Yeah,
our
I
Oh, yeah.
inside
Not to
section,
me.
2 parts.
Well, yeah, that's
Originally, I
because
was
you've
doing
only let them
a
get to
horse
you
barn,
once
so I
now.
thought
Yeah.
we could do it.
Yep.
And, I
You
realized
see, the ladies
after
have it all
building the
over
stables,
us
if I
because
want
some of
stables for,
them
like,
Yeah.
have like
heroic size
procedures to make
horses,
them
I'm
look
actually
like
gonna
this
need
and then look
quite a
like
bit
that
bigger
and then
barn,
look like this other thing. The
there's
Botox goes
still
in, the Botox comes out.
plenty of room
Right.
in here for
You
at
know,
least 2 horse
it's
stalls
just
with
that
plenty
you and
of
I are
extra
the
work room if you wanted,
old
okay?
style,
And these horse
unrepentant,
stalls will also
unchanged.
work,
Good
in
God,
other
do I
barns
actually look like
released
that?
last month.
Yeah, I know, man.
The way these work,
Although I have cut
they're just
14
an
pounds
L.
off,
You
so
can
I'm happy
mirror 'em
about
if you
that.
want,
So
and you can just keep
Okay,
gluing them onto each
don't
other,
use that
to
phrasing.
make longer and
Oh,
longer
Cut
horse stalls,
14
okay?
pounds off.
well, yeah, no,
There's
I've
a
lost
hole in the
14
bottom
pounds
for
of weight.
shoving
How's
hay
that? I haven't
through
cut
or-
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
out of my body,
Yeah,
so
up at the
yeah.
top there. Okay.
We're all ready to go here, so let's come on early, shall we? And of course, Ed, as always, thank you for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. This is fun. I have the greatest of fun hanging out with you guys. It's like
Same.
And yes, I have 3 new
Oh, love it.
heroes and heroines with 3 new realms, and as per usual, go ahead, publish them, whatever.
Yeah, I'll probably put them in the next Visions, combined with some of the ones I'll take out of my campaign and some from lore. You know, we'll do a little mix. Yep.
Yeah, and I reserve the right to shove them up on my Patreon.
Yep, of course.
Don't see it.
Always.
I'll
That's,
ju-
that's
I'll just-
great.
Always.
I'll just put the realms ones up.
No, you can put the Greyhawk ones up too, man. It's no big deal. It's all good. Whatever you want to do, man. You're kind enough to do it, so.
Hey, my pleasure. It's fun. It's just fun.
Hey, Nikki. Good to see you. Thanks for that nice message you sent me. Time for some Ed.
Uh-oh. You sound like,
Hey, Dave.
like my library ladies. Time for some Ed. Oh, wait a minute.
I think I got it. It's just Nikki, is it? No, it's not. All right. I'm trying to find the shout out. I got 500 shout outs on this thing and I can't find it. I had Teal Superiors here somewhere too. Too many shout outs. I can't even find Teal Superior. I can't even find Dave now. Oh my gosh. Button, 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 button.
Yeah.
I wasn't even
why-
drinking tonight.
That's
There.
why we
Start-
invented zippers.
Oh my gosh.
For those moments when you're going button, button.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you know what? Here, I we're stringing those out. I gotta start the giveaway up too. Duh. Give me 1 second, everyone. See, we're 6 minutes early, and I'm in La La Land here. 1 sec. Giveaway. It'll pop up in this. Oh my gosh, I was just going to say something. I knew Ed would go. So there we go. I started it. I stopped myself from saying it'll pop up in a second, Ed.
Yeah. You ran up to the brink of the cliff. You teetered on the edge of the cliff, and you pulled yourself back. Go for you.
All right, we're good. All right, coming live. Boom. know I have it on here and I can't find it, so I'm just gonna type it in. Let's see if I spelled that right. I didn't. Shit. All right, so yes, I feel frustrated here. All right, Sunday night. What does that mean every so many weeks? It's Ed time.
Uh-oh.
Ed, welcome back. Anna,
Hi.
well, I got
Good
my
to be
2-drink
here.
minimum shirt on.
Aha.
Feeling good, feeling good. Looking forward to a cool discussion tonight. Yeah, hey, darling. I know I have yours set up here.
Yeah,
So
hello.
we're going to have a great discussion tonight. As we always go, what topic we're going to do? And you're like, you think we'd run out of them, but nah. Heroes and heroines of Greyhawk and the Realms. And Ed says he's got new ones for both settings. That's awesome. So Ed, I know you've been busy. You said you had Hollywood last week, right?
Yes.
What was going on with that, man?
Oh, NDA,
I was just going to say,
wazoo.
But you
Oh,
were
okay.
in Hollywood, or
All
they
right.
came
No.
to you?
They came to me.
Ooh,
Nice.
now that's even more intriguing. Yeah.
Ah,
Wow.
okay, so what can I tell you about what I'm doing now? Okay, very quickly, the usual Ask stuff for Fate of the Norns.
Yep.
And I'm
Right.
also doing a Terry Pratchett-esque humorous
There we go.
fantasy novella for another game, and I can't identify it yet, but short deadline. And I'm doing some GUI Cube stuff in support of
The game.
yeah, and the Tomb of Geisengax. In other words, Luke, and a Trouble with Rats, and a something with Skellies, and its sequel, and something else that I can't talk about yet.
Well,
but it too has a short deadline.
You can talk in innuendo. You did something for me too.
Well, yes. Darling, I thought we were no, never mind.
Yes, I asked Ed to do something, and he had it done like in 4 hours, which is insane. So, and that's for Melf's Guide to the to Greyhawk, the Borderlands of IUs. I'll just say that. Here comes Gary Con live in too. Awesome, awesome, great to see you all. I'll shout out both Gary Con live and Garner. All I gotta do is find them out of my hundreds and hundreds of shout outs. So thank you all. Classic D&D reprint giveaway. You got your choice of a multitude of things. If you don't have, we still got Scarlet Brotherhood. We still got the original glossography. We still have Treasures of Greyhawk. We still have a ton of adventures. So I will make sure I get you something. We go over level 3 hype train. I normally double it. So it's good to see you all, and thank you so very much. And enjoy this discussion with Ed as we're going heroes and heroines of Greyhawk and the Realms. But yes, Ed, thank you for doing that.
No problem. Oh, I will just say, some of you will hate me when you encounter this.
Yeah.
But it's very deployable.
So I'll tell a quick little story. Ed sends it to me. He goes, I hope you really like it, but you promise me one thing. I go, okay, what's that? Don't use it against me in my group. And then I said, I'll wait for 6 months after it's released.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, so that was a little fun jab there. So, all right, we're going to talk about and heroes and heroines. They may be able to be anti. I don't think we're going the evil route tonight that much. More, but it could be an anti-hero thrown in there. And I got some of your favorites up here. Well, my favorites for Ed, where heroes are in, and I'll just show these publications that Ed's done, and I have them all set. I got the Harpers here. I got my ultimate favorite, the Seven Sisters publication. Oh, so yesterday, if you watched the stream, it went from 1 to 5. And I had an evil necromancer, and there's a necromancer in the group, and he's a lot lower level, and I flesh shivered him. And his right arm and his right leg just snapped because he had 9 con. It was awesome. He's like, that spell. Yeah. So Heather Hex looks it up and she goes, oh my God, this spell's awful. And I said, yeah, well, you can blame Ed. He wrote it. It was like, yeah. And that's in this book in Seven Sisters. It's one of the ones in there, and it says necromancy, but I made it specifically to necromancers. Yeah, Cardman, I saw it when I stopped watching the game. My wife's downstairs 28-6, so gotta love that. All right, so Anna, what are your thoughts on the topic here?
Well, it's kind of I have a bunch that I've done for my own, but otherwise I feel like I've been so limited in the areas that I've been adventuring in that sense because I'm usually very local. I stay for 10 years within one country, so to speak. And so that way they're not geographic. And then I use some of the top villains and then I invent all the henchmen and everything down, so to speak. So 80-90% of all the heroes and villains and stuff that I use in my campaigns are of my own creation. And then because because over 10 years I need 500 or more to use because most of them will go up in smoke and die quickly, so to speak. So very few that they don't last that long. So you need lots and lots of them. So it's like in Game of Thrones, meaning most of them die. So you need plenty of ammo for the story, so to speak. And that means that so I tend to not try to kill off the big ones. They come at the end, but the funny thing is my Shieldlands campaign was the opposite. Some of the big villains managed to get smoked in very early and got disappeared in the first 3 sessions, which was kind of interesting because that meant that the campaign took a completely different route than I thought it would be. So that was interesting. As a student of politics, I love it when things go sideways, so to speak. That's interesting. Love it is the wrong word. It's interesting. It might be terrifying, but it's interesting. And that goes for the real world as well as the campaign, so to speak. That it's interesting when you've thrown for a loop, so to speak. It's kind of and that happened early on in my Shieldlands campaign. And I'd met some past disappeared out of the campaign, and not all of them for good because there's or for forever. There are a couple of them that will come back. Keraptis in disguise, so to speak, is one of them, but some of them I have to reinvent new ones, and some of them are still there. But that was my first kind of reaction to the topic. Yeah.
So Scottish Jeff says the real hero is the person who crash landed that spaceship in the barrier peaks without destroying the ship.
No, please.
Number one, Gary Julian is I haven't seen on yet, so don't give him a coronary or pop a blood vessel in his head. Two, we know for a fact from Gary Con last year that Andrew Scott Perry told us that it is definitely a pod ship off of the Starship Warden. That's what he told us, and I remember we sat down for him that long time.
That means that it's a tiny little thing, so he can't do that much from it. So yeah.
Please thank Ed Greenwood for his recent Spelljammer video and ask him how many spelljamming ships he thinks go from Earth to Toral. You know why he's not going to answer that? Because we have a seminar at GaryCon about it.
Oh, you have to wait.
So Mac, I will live stream it. Mac, you're gonna have to wait because that's one of the things we're going to talk about. We're gonna, So sorry about that, but yeah, we're gonna have a great seminar on crossing worlds and crossing portals and interlinking Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms. So we're really excited about that discussion. So yep. I love this topic because you can go over your own campaign ones, you can go in lore, or you can go into some really obscure. Yes. So, hey, Dave. Yeah, it's going to be a blast. GaryCon's going to be a blast this year. So, why don't we start off with Ed? Give us like one of your favorites and lore from your campaign. It could be one of the big ones.
So, from the realms, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me begin with Terrestra Vaunth. Terrestra Vaunth.
Okay.
Better known as the Lady Ghost.
Okay.
A female wizard and superb archer who for years has worked with her mother Valara, and since her mother's death continued alone, to devise arrows that deliver arcane spells to whatever or whoever they hit. She can also cast spells in the conventional manner, and she recently discovered some ancient Netherese mantle spells that she can wear as invisible wards moving with her as defenses in battle. Most reflect or absorb particular sorts of spells or magical effects. Many consider her a hero because she has appeared unexpectedly, sometimes alone, and sometimes with oft-varying adventuring companions. She seems to have many such folk up and down the Sword Coast and along the Heartland's trade routes linking the Sword Coast with the Sea of Fallen Stars, to aid travelers beset by brigands or by orc, goblin, hobgoblin, and gnoll raiders. She sometimes forms intense friendships with females of all races she aids and may drop in on them or spy on them years later to see if they need more aid and provide it, from her fighting skills to wealth to putting folk in touch with skilled others they need, or all of these for the same friend. Teresra is known as the Lady Ghost for her habit of traveling in enhanced wraith form, which makes her translucent, ghostly, and faintly glowing.
Nice.
Now, I can't drop that on you without writing up the spell Enhanced Wraith Form, so here it is.
Awesome. There you go. We
And-
all got a new spell for you all to use.
Enhanced Wraith Form, 7th level transmutation. Casting time, 1 action. Range, self. Components, verbal. Duration, up to 7 hours. Available to wizards and sorcerers if Teresra teaches it to them. The caster becomes partly incorporeal, taking on wraith-like form, and is resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons that lack blades coated with silver, and can use their reaction to momentarily become wholly incorporeal and gain immunity to the damage of that attack. The caster is also resistant to damage from spells. The caster can use an action to become fully incorporeal until the end of their turn, so they can move through solid objects, as difficult terrain, and avoid all opportunity attacks. If their turn ends within solid matter, the caster is ejected back in the direction they arrived from to the closest open volume of space and suffers 3d4 hit points force damage. While in enhanced wraith form, a caster cannot make any weapon attacks or cast any spells, including cantrips, that require verbal, somatic, or material components. Their unarmed attack alters from their norm to dealing 5d4 force damage. Ta-da!
In my Greyhawk, it'll be Necromancers and Shadow Mages. Because the original Wraith form, that's, that's where the access is to. So, so that was a brand new character. Brand new hero. Brand new hero. He went right off to the bat with a brand new one. So, yeah, awesome. All right, so I was a little mean there to Mac. I apologize. So, how many Spelljammer ships you think there are? Roughly.
Okay, that actually make the journey in a given year, a given month. I would say, okay, my video concerned specifically Waterdeep, travel to and from Waterdeep, and I would say in a given month, it would vary depending on the time of year. There's more spell jamming in winter because travel by other means is harder, and in spring and fall, the shoulder seasons, the mud seasons, travel is harder over land. So there's more call, and therefore you can get more money for cargoes.
Now I'm curious. So there are you don't have to take the ship to go to. You can walk there.
How do you mean?
Go to Forgotten Realms.
Oh yeah.
Oh, now I'm getting curious. Meaning there's alternatives to taking the ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I would say in a given month, there are probably about 60 or 70 spelljamming voyages. Not necessarily all the same ship, and some ships will make multiple voyages, but we're talking 60 to 70 voyages. There's a lot. And
wow.
But here's the whole point of the things, which was in the video. That does not mean they fly over the city. They're seen from the city. That's the no-no because of the Dragon Wards and because of laws and rules designed to blunt any idea of I'll just invade the city.
Is there a GAA that regulates that?
What there is Laryl and Elminster, and because Elminster is now her chief of secret police. Not so secret police that everybody in the city knows about. Those sort of secret police. Your Gestapo type.
Laryl? Did you say Laryl?
They're usually not that secret. Everybody should know about them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Laryl, the open lord of Waterdeep. Yeah, there
You
are
mean
rules.
her?
Yeah,
See, I was ready.
yeah, you're ready. Yeah, that's her. Yeah.
I need to ask a question about her too.
Sure, go
sorry.
ahead.
Were her and Drizzt a thing or not? Right?
Or who it?
It,
Or who it?
wasn't
Who?
it she and Drizzt supposedly were together?
Oh yes.
Okay.
They were a thing.
Okay.
Okay. The best way to describe her and a certain drow
Okay.
is unexpectedly friendly with each other
Okay.
and friends with benefits. Okay?
Okay.
We're not talking like wild torrid
Right.
romance that's going to last forever. They
Okay.
both understand. But I think what it was for a particular drow ranger, astonishment that he would just be accepted.
Okay.
You know, and therefore he was like, "Oh, wow. Wow." You know, so he took advantage because he could take advantage, because he wanted to take advantage because he wanted to be accepted.
And
And,
yeah, okay. That's good to know. I also want to note the following. We come into the Seven Sisters book, and in here and along of other places, there are a lot of Laeral spells which are really good that can be imported into Greyhawk no problem. In fact, I have Laeral as a alternate, like it's the same thing with Leomund. Because Leomund's not a Circle of 8 member, for the Greyhawk Mage, but you could,
right.
in theory, there's enough to get started here with Laeral as well. Because some the symbol has a couple and whatever, but Laeral has the most, I think, out of this list. So yeah, just so you're aware.
Yeah.
And there are probably some others in other publications I'm not aware of as well.
Yes,
So,
there are a
yeah.
few, and there's
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
more in the Home Realms campaign that I never
Okay.
got into Published Realms
Yeah.
for. It's hard. You see, you can't just like fill a book with stuff from your home campaign. It has to be stuff that is germane to the topic at hand. So there's lots of things that was never a germane moment, if you know what I mean.
Right. And if you're smart and you're going to GaryCon, Connecting Worlds, The Forgotten Realms of Greyhawk, Friday at 2 p.m. Central. Ed sold out last time, and it'll sell out again this seminar. So just note, there it is if you want to know when it is. And then also you can see Ed Saturday at 9 for the Deadly Challenge.
Oh no, not deadly, Jay.
I make up the titles before I even have the thing completely fleshed out. So there you go. But just showing you some of the fun things.
Don't tell them that, Jay. You
it's
have
not
to,
100% fleshed out.
you have to maintain the illusion that dungeon masters like plan these things. We don't just make it up as we go along.
Oh, that's true. All right, it's completely done, and yeah, I'm gonna kill it.
There you go.
I'm gonna kill Avalantar finally. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Is that better? So
yeah, much better. Oh well, Ravalantar won't undertake any long-term investments then.
So that's a great start. So, and note all these, especially the Greyhawk ones, I'll compile them all, and it'll give them to me, and they're going to go in the next Visions 5 on an article. Okay, we're going to do a Heroes and Heroines article. It'll have his. I'll add mine. I'll add some of my campaign ones and some that I love out of that we'll talk about tonight out of history there. So, Anna, you got one you want to bring up in Greyhawk? You love a hero heroine?
Yeah, I can. I'll start with one of my own for once. Normally, I try to keep them a little, but I'll just try one. Just get me to. There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to start with one I invented for my Shieldlands campaign.
Oh, okay.
He's called it's Bastin the Bard. He is he grew up in Rookroost, and he he's about 30. I think he's 38 years old. So he grew up firmly before the war, when Rookroost was this kind of unruly place up in the Bandit Kingdom where a lot of things went, so to speak. So he was very sweet-talking, charming young man who quickly turned into the entertainment scene, so to speak. He was acting, he was in a lot of show business, so to speak. But he was also very smart and had a fling for skullduggery and stuff. So he quickly started to use his position and realized that there's a lot of opportunity. And so he got to know people of various fine folks with money and influence, especially the ones with influence. And then when the bad times came and there were the war times and stuff like that, he realized that could be, at first he realized he could be monetized, so to speak. All of a sudden he was one of the that could benefit from bad times. So he rose up, and then he started to after a while he realized that at the beginning he was just like an entrepreneur who kind of got started to feel like, oh, this bad times I could benefit from. But then he started to grow a heart, so to speak. He saw that this is going to go downhill. So he took a side. So he became a spy for the Shieldlands and for Yundi in the side. So he started he gravitated in that direction. But he had such a good rapport in the area, so to speak, and he tried to keep. So he maintained the presence of double agent, but he was one that handed over a lot of good info and showed his loyalty to the Shieldlands and for Yundi and Belvor and Katarina. So now at the end of the war, now he's fully come over on the good side, so to speak, and he has been he's no longer trusted in Ayusian lands because they started to figure out who he actually is. So he do some border stuff and so on. So now he's moved from an operative to more of a high level player, so to speak. So he's starting to be one of he's moving into, he's a 16th level bard equivalent, so to speak. So he's moving in now to be one of Belvor's and Katarina's problem solvers, so to speak, one that they send out to negotiate and to talk for them, to listen in, and to talk to potential allies, the ones that go to different courts and stuff and send a message either asking for help and so on and so forth, but also to hand out threats and stuff like that in a very diplomatic manner when that's needed. So he's and I can see him as a quest giver, someone they can interact with in various forms, someone who can appear to be on the enemy side to beginning to test them out or something like that. So he can be used in various forms. He doesn't appear to be, he's firmly one of the good guys, so to speak, but he doesn't appear so right away. And he and there's of course the amorous stories about him and Katarina and so on and so forth and so on, because he's one of these charming, really charming ones. But he has some steel and nerve, and he knows how to be violent if need be, so to speak. So he's a very jack of all trades kind of figure. And he is smarter than he's strong physically, so to speak, and very, very high charisma. And he knows some magic and stuff too. So he's kind of a jack of all trade, and he's the one that goes to courtrooms and knows how to run those circles. But he also knows how to survive if need be in the wilderness in between. So, but he's especially the social kind of
Very cool.
privileged. So I'm going to stat him out in Hawktails and publish him very soon. So to speak, because now he's kind of, I've been using him as so the characters get to know him in the campaign. Now he's at that level that he's fully outed to the players. So that means that now I can more show the story. But so he's one of these, I would say, assets that every country, especially in a fantasy realm, they need those agents working for them, and they will handsomely reward them. But Bastin is one of these things that I think he doesn't want to build. He has no kids, nothing like that. He's a little bit of a cynic in that sense, because he's one that always prepared that the world can go to hell. So he kind of, he lives by the day, he's courteous and stuff, but he's also a cynic, knowing that things can go bad. So he hedges his bets in that sense, but he knows who he wants to win, but he's not sure they will. So yeah.
Nice one, Anna. I love to see the write up, because I can always convert back to my 1E, 2E with your stats. So, so I want to ask Ed about one that I've always seen in one of the books, and I don't know a lot about. I believe it's her because the picture's right there. I'm going to flip over to it because you got 5 still to go that you've written up, right? So we want to talk about some of the existing heroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. So this one.
So
Out of the Harpers.
Yes. That looks like Dove, doesn't it?
Isn't a Shinra Shining Eyes Dooth?
Oh, this one. Oh, okay. Okay, not the initial
Yeah,
pick.
that's. I don't
Yeah.
think that's. I think
Okay,
that's. Yeah,
this one.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yes. She is just um a not a senior Harper,
Okay.
but a veteran Harper.
Okay.
Okay. And she's just an example of
14th level.
yeah. Like I said, a veteran, but senior and master are almost rank terms.
Okay.
Or seniority, and she's not a senior in seniority. So, but yeah,
Straight
that was
thief. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just an example of the sort of person you could encounter, because the Harpers are very the best way to describe them is they're like a modern terrorist organization, in that most of them are in cells that have very little to do with each other.
Mhm.
So they may hear of each other, they may know of each other, but it is very hard to get to one member that you're after
Right.
from
Right.
others because of the way they're organized.
Okay.
Deliberately. So, you can't take down a whole bunch of people by getting and torturing one. And the other thing about the Harpers are yes, they're a force for good ultimately, because there are so many evil organizations they're pitted against. But the Harpers are really like the Sierra Club.
Okay.
Okay? They're there for the land, and they dislike tall poppies of every sort. Good, bad, whatever. They figure if a ruler comes across as good, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Right.
So the first thing they should do is work against that ruler's pet projects, unless the pet projects are like solve world hunger, you know. But in the realms, as in Earth, that's rarely going to be what the pet projects are, you know. So they will immediately, if somebody comes to a throne, start subtly working against them, not violence and not screwing anything up, but just making sure that things don't go as swimmingly as the grand plan was.
Okay.
And of course, you know, most rulers being what they are, they don't go swimmingly, because they have this idea of the world that people like them and will support what they do. And of course, humans aren't like that. Somebody they push back against almost anything. Even if somebody says this is for your own good, that's red rag to a bull to most of us. What do you mean it's for my own good? What are you trying to put over on
Right.
me?
Right.
You
Right.
know.
Okay.
So the Harpers just quietly work against things, not necessarily to make them not work, but to slow them down, because that means nobody can become a tyrant in order to just ram through what they need. I just got to get this done. I just got to get it done now. And if I have to break a few heads in the process, so be it. No, they want to stop that sort of thinking. And the other thing is, they realize that even if a particular goal or process or new thing that a ruler institutes is ultimately for the good, they want it slowed down so that everybody can get used to it, so nobody feels like something got
Transition.
rammed down their throats. Yeah.
Right, right, right. That makes sense. Like I always read up on her, and she said it says here that she, took absconded from a merchant who turned out to be a Zent agent, and then so she got some things and trace a good many Zent agents for almost a season, and that's a good way to get off your career. So Gary Julian, the legend himself, says, sounds like the balance, Ed, but it's not really. It's a balance slighted toward good, right?
Yeah.
But not, if the good can go a little haywire too, is what I'm
Yep.
thinking. Okay. But it's slighted toward good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Which is why most people view the Harpers as good, because um it's not a Zentarim who will come to your door in the middle of the night with the food you need to feed your starving family. It's a Harper.
Right.
not a Zent. But if the Zents weren't there, and the Red Wizards weren't there, and all these other pain in the ass factions and power groups weren't on the scene, then you'd look at the Harpers a lot differently. It's because you see them in opposition to these other bad people, obviously bad people, people who regularly use violence and blackmail and threats to get what they want. It's because you see the Harpers against the backdrop of those other people that you go, oh, the Harpers are good. The Harpers are like, they hate power. They want everybody to be about equal.
Right.
And so you could see them as the sort of people who work against progress. It's like, not in my backyard.
Right. Right.
Or why does he have something and I don't? He's no better than me. You know, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But because we see them as we see them in the setting, we go, oh, they're a force for good. Well, yeah, maybe.
Okay. That makes total sense. I appreciate that. I appreciate going over that. So let me do one here from City Greyhawk box set. Actually, I'm going to do a couple because they're all in the same adventuring group. My favorite of all, one of my favorites of all time is the Fellowship of the Torch. And if you don't know these characters, you should, because they are really cool. Once again, the Torch of Anazandar is the first scalable weapon item I've ever seen published. Where as it goes up in level, as Nastasia Ariani Nightstar right here goes up in levels, it goes up with her. She's a dual class human fighter mage, which is cool. You know, having that dual class. And these levels, they're a lot higher in my campaign. And then Garen Lareth is a ranger. Kilrolian's another mage. Marie Semfort's an illusionist, and Grimmy Fisher is a gnome thief. He's alive in my game, dead and from the ashes, just so you're aware. And this is like the cause for good adventuring party in Greyhawk City that you may come across. And they're detailed both here in the Free City Greyhawk box set, my favorite publication of all time, and from the ashes they have updates on them. So really a cool group. And a lot of the adventuring groups that I use in Greyhawk will run against them and even adventure with them or partner with them. And that's where you take lore that exists and you tweak it a little bit, make it your own, and work it into your game, and you're not affecting anyone's campaign. Don't worry about taking lore, right, Ed? Use the lore for yourself, you know? And that's what I've done here, and just love these characters. I even have these guys show up at the joust every year, and they were in the audience at the joust. I even have a miniature for Nastasia. So there you go. Cool characters, really cool. So, okay. So Curtis is at a wedding in Curtis, one of Ed's drinking buddies at Gary Con, Curtis and Brett, right? Or he's at a wedding in Alabama, or he'd hop on and say hello as a great anti-hero Fritz Winchester, but he barely can even connect. So Curtis, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for hopping in there.
Yeah, don't get married, Curtis.
Yeah.
It's one to a customer. Unless you're really rich.
Curtis, it's all good, man. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. So those are ones I wanted to bring up that are, and they start off in low level, like 4th, 5th, 6th, so you can utilize them and they level up with them. You know, and that's something you can use in your game. So let's hear about a new hero in Greyhawk, Ed. How's that sound?
Oh, wait a minute. I should have one right here.
Yes.
It's almost like I planned it.
Yeah.
Almost. Okay. What do we got here?
Sure.
Okay. Yorundra Tomark. Yorundra Tomark. Merchant of Bissell. A plump, usually smiling, Oridian woman of middling height and modest dress. Shawls over ankle-length gowns that in turn overlie leggings and vests. Yorundra is an unknown heroine of the Flaness. She seems to be no more than an efficient warehouse owner and caravan broker in Pelak, though a close observer will notice she seems to be one of those rare favored of the gods folk who are hale and have a long life, seeming scarcely to age as the decades pass.
Wow.
If anyone inquires, they will hear she spends coin on herbal draughts and ointments to keep herself youthful, a false rumor Hirundra started herself. She really enjoys longevity thanks to falling into an enchanted pool in a ruined temple during her brief career as a, her words, foolish adventurer. She has many casual friends, but no partner, and lives alone, secretly maintaining not just safe rooms in some of her warehouses, but using proxy owners to maintain at least 3 houses in Pelak beyond the one she officially inhabits. Beyond carrying concealed daggers under her clothing for personal protection and a habit of preferring a solid wall at her back, she retains no adventuring habits. Irundra's heroics are far more subtle. She steers such power-hungry manipulators as Evard the Black and Nyeru, the necromancer, spoiler, who posed as the Mage of the Valley, into difficulties and negotiations to slow their schemes and keep them busy, buying time as she seeks to expose their true nature and aims to as many folk of Bissell as possible. In this, she's been very successful, persuading Evard to largely operate elsewhere and preventing conquests. So, although you'll search for her name in vain in the ballads of bards and the histories of sages, she is a heroic protector of stability and freedom.
So that is one under the radar, which is beautiful. That's awesome.
I'm going for deployable here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. Really, really cool. So I'm going to ask you a question. How old do you think she is? Is she 100 years old? 200?
Oh,
It could be
I'd
left
say
up to the. Yeah.
yeah. I was leaving it up to, but yeah, just by looking at what we've just said here, she's got to be old. I mean, suspiciously old. As in, wow, she's old.
Okay.
But then, of course,
So I
whatever.
guess-
It's a lady's age, so
Hello, Skagit.
That's a great one because you can fit
Yeah.
that in into the campaign, and once again, no cannon breaking for any of you, right? And that's exactly what is the genius of Ed, sliding it in there, even threw even threw in some Evard there. Yeah,
Yeah.
a real baddie. Yeah, that's a good one. That's really good. I love to hear that. Okay, Anna.
Okay, I want to promote someone who is been in the setting for quite some time and I think underused.
Okay.
She is a she. I think yeah, she's a she, and very old and lives. Also, someone I was going to use in my. Will probably use in my Shieldlands campaign coming up, so to speak. And I'm talking about Thing Gizzard, the Witch of the Fence.
Oh wow.
Which I think is really cool because she's kind of ambiguous. She's old as can be. She's probably several thousand years old or something. So she's definitely beyond human if she ever was human. And she had her babies, the bog mummies, in the great effluvial swamp near White Plume Mountain. But we don't know that much detail more than she's called a witch or something. So that gives us or gives you a DM. You can tweak her one way or the other, so to speak. You can say that she might have ingredients for a spell or something. She might know something, or you might flee, so you have to go in the area and she happened to be there. She not necessarily evil and want to kill everything, but on the other hand, she's probably very protective of her little part of the world, so to speak. So you probably need to do her a favor or whatever that could be. And you have to prove to her that you can be useful and not a threat, so to speak. And if she's been there that long and hasn't been unseated yet, that means that she probably has at least 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 more kind of secret tricks up her sleeve to stay there and be able to be there. So and that her hut might be anything from a tiny little thing to you never know what, so to speak, because it's so far away, remote up there that no one goes there. So that hut can be, and she could be almost anything you want her to be, so to speak. She can maintain that persona, but in reality be something else entirely. Meaning there are a lot of powers in the world who wants to retreat somewhere and stay for a century or two under the radar, so to speak. That's one possibility. Or she might be someone who just wants to linger on for eternity to see how things end or whatever. So there's a lot of cool possibilities that you can do with Thing Gizzard.
Okay. I never thought of her as a hero or heroine,
No,
but
but exactly, we don't know anything about
yeah.
it more than she's old and she has her bog mummies and where she lives. That's about it.
Okay.
So that's and that means that there is a lot of possibility. You can build a lot on
Right.
those few 2 paragraphs that we know about her.
Yeah, and it's really not much, is it? I mean, I don't,
Exactly, it's a couple of paragraphs. That's
well,
about it.
did Living Greyhawk expand on her? I don't know. I did.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
might
I
be.
have
They
no
might. Yeah,
idea.
they might have expanded
Yeah.
on her and ruined her one way or the other. You never know.
You
Yeah.
said it, not me. So
Yeah.
there you go. I was.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I don't
I
know.
threw a
So
softball
yeah.
out there for Anna, and she
I-
knocked
I-
it out of the park with that. Yeah, so.
I need to go in and now I need to check.
That's really funny. But yeah, I Thin Gizzard's cool. Yes, they did. Brevin says, of course. So, but that's okay because remember, everything got reset to 576 coming up, but it shouldn't affect your campaign. Don't let it ruin your campaign. It's not ruining mine. Not at all. So yeah, do what you got to do for your game. All right, Ed.
Mm.
What about a published source hero? Like, I don't know. Pick maybe one of this. Here, how about if I bring one up? How about if I bring up another Seven Sister that I've always wanted to know more information about? How's that sound? Is that cool?
Sure. Yeah.
I
why
really,
not?
I really like. So I know we did Dove one time before, but how about Illustrial? How about Illustrial Silverhand? How about her?
Okay. Well, I have to be a little careful here
Oh,
because Amanda just did Vecna Eve of Ruin.
oh, and she's in there.
Not only is she in there, she takes a lover, a woman, and goes to another plane to be with that lover,
Really?
which was news to me.
Are you serious? All right.
Yeah.
Well, how
So
about
Amanda,
Yeah, go ahead.
and I had a little chat at very little chat.
Get a
at
hold of your
DragonCon.
stuff, Ed, and then yeah, I got it. So, yeah, huge change. Yeah, McGrath Mike says, "Oh my
Well,
gosh."
I just said, okay, this lady that Illustro took up with, she must be really good in bed because
Wow.
that's a zag I wasn't expecting.
Holy schmolies.
So yeah. But what we can say about Illustrial in general is Illustrial was ruling in the Silver Marches and had the whole thing blow up in her face because the various races involved, it's mainly dwarves versus humans, they couldn't get along. So she had, and not to put any real world spin on it at all, but we all know of people who had ideals and a vision for a country, and then they found that dealing with the meatheads who were in power and wanted more power and wanted to stay on top just became so tiresome in the end they gave up and walked away. I can't achieve anything here, so I'm done. I'm out of here. And we get that vibe from Illustrial in recent Realms lore.
Okay.
The Silver Marches Leruar didn't work out the way she wanted it to because people couldn't stop being selfish, and because all of the Seven Sisters have lived a long time,
Right.
and they want to go on living a long time, they have a different worldview than us. They have worldview that's closer to dragons without the self-centered arrogance, egotism that a lot of the dragons have. So they expect things to last forever, and they expect people to get second chances, and they expect people to be patient and sharing. And of course, the problem with humans with their short lifespans is they all want it now.
Right.
There is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And as we are all seeing, as we all get older in real life, there's no tomorrow. And the problem is, for some of us, that means I'm not waiting. I want it now. I get to win this one. I have to come first.
So you're
This has to be
Veruca Salt like.
yeah. And I think what you see with Alestral is someone who is so done with that.
Mhm.
So perhaps that's why she decided to just go to another world with her new love and spend time there.
Okay.
You know, and you see, this to me is something intriguing to me because, and this is the delight of the published realms. It can surprise me when you create everything in a setting. There are no surprises because you put everything there.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, Ed. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I don't mind. It was just like, really, I have to like work this one out.
Wow.
So, Amanda, why? And it could just be for real world,
Got it.
quote political reasons. I don't know. But because we didn't have a chance to really get into it because you're busy at a convention. You have things that you have to do, places you have to be, panels you have to do. So but anyway, it was fascinating. So I look forward to learning more about which way Alestral has zigged and zagged and why.
Very, very cool. All right. I am going to my own publication for one of my own in my own campaign because I want to talk about a hero in my game. It's in here now that a lot of you don't know about because I don't talk about her that much, and that is Lady Mayor Charisse of Altamira. I just want to talk about a little bit of the background on the character. So she is in here, and there's even a picture of her, which I've shown. And you go here, and there she is, right? And she is in here, right here, as of this publication, 59 years old. So the character started out, believe it or not, as an NPC in one of my early adventuring groups. We're talking in the 80s. We're talking probably 80 when I was in high school. I started her out, and she was a bounty hunter class, and one of the first, I had the bounty hunter class made up, but she was evil. It's an evil character, and I had her kind of like as a secret agent in the adventuring group. Turns out over time, the group kind of had her change of heart, and I gradually changed her alignment, because she saw that was not the way to go. And turns out the character got up to is the grandmother of, just like grandmother of assassins, grandmother of bounty hunters in the campaign. Been the undisputed mayor of Altamira for each term, kind of like Sam is, it's back in the day, in Lord of the Rings, he gets reelected every year, and also secretly runs the Bounty Hunters Guild because she is, 15th level bounty hunter, and all the things behind the scenes she's running, and also is a Knight of York. So a lot going on with this character, but I never really talk about it in the game because she's behind those scenes pulling some strings for the cause of good. Kind of a character that like has a lot more power that you may have in your own campaign, or I know Ed has a ton of them like that, especially a lot of the Harpers and a lot of there's characters that are sending the senders on missions, and that would be Lady Mayor Charisse, and she is married to Elijah Winchester the third, and they have a bunch of kids that you've seen adventuring. Jake and
What?
Emerson, yeah, oh yeah, generational characters.
Our very own that Winchester?
No, that Fritz is on the other side. I'll throw up the family tree. I'll find the family tree and I'll throw up. Fritz is of Emerson the third and Dana Coldwell. Yes. No, the tree is, as my friend Bill says, the tree's linear because they bust my stones about it. But I'll find the tree and I'll share it with you.
Okay.
So that you can. But yeah, no, that would be cousins. So I'll show that to you though. But that's a character that I developed in my campaign when I was 14, 15 years old. Yeah. So there you go.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Well, Anna, you and I will alternate, and we'll keep on going back and forth to Ed. How's that sound? Make sense? Yeah. I think that's the way, because people want to hear Ed a lot more than us. So
Yeah,
No.
definitely.
Oh yeah. Hey, Rachel, good to see you. And we'll see Rachel on Saturday here. Let me do this shout out here. Hopefully this is the right one. That's the wrong one. Sorry. There you go. 16th. 16th. We got another. My last game before I go out on surgery. All right, Ed.
Hmm?
We got one of each so far. So I'm just checking. We're great on time. I'm making getting in the time zone, making sure we're good here. All right, back to Forgotten Realms, to the realms, and a new character that you've made up. We've already got a spell. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. No more spells. Sorry. I got to save something in the quiver. Okay. So a new, hitherto unknown hero of the realms, Argoth Hallowhand. Argoth Hallowhand, a Kalashite human male ranger of very dark, almost gray skin, jet black hair, steel gray eyes, and a tall, lanky build. He has 3 parallel, deep furrowed scars on his right bicep, thanks to a dragon's talons, and a family good luck tattoo shaped like a dark teardrop ended vertical spindle around his right eye. So, a wanderer, active up and down the Sword Coast and increasingly all around the Sea of Fallen Stars, Argoth has slain many monsters and slavers. He harbors an intense dislike for humans who enslave or coerce others. Slaves he's freed and potential slaves he's defended revere him as the hero unlooked for, and tales of his kind deeds have made the rounds of the trade routes and ports, growing in the telling. Argoth is a loner, seeking a life partner he can trust and adventure with. So he's increasingly working with adventurers he encounters in hopes of finding such a life mate. He doesn't care what race or gender such a partner may be, only that he can trust them and that they share his adventuring interests and skills. Born in northeasternmost rural Kalimshan, Argoth has always been a good climber, and as a youth hunted wyverns and perytons, graduating to blue dragons when spawnings to the east of Kalimshan caused young wormlings to invade Argoth's home region in search of lairs of their own. He took part in 5 successful dragon slaying hunts before the mother dragon came seeking vengeance, and he was one of only 2 survivors among the hunters in the epic battle that followed, with the mother dragon dead and a battered Argoth dragging a sorely wounded comrade down out of the foothills to healing. Argoth still detests dragons 2 decades later. In recent years, an attempt by Zhentarim agents to frame him for their own smuggling in Sea of Fallen Stars ports led Argoth to begin hunting Zhent spies and smugglers, which in turn made Zhentarim mages hunt him. Thus far, he's slain almost 24 Zhent wizards and more than thrice that many of their warrior bodyguards, and forced senior Zhent mages to issue orders that he's to be avoided, as far too expensive to the faction to take down. Instead, the Zhents are turning to local pirates to handle the last stage, shore to ship or vice versa, of their smuggling for them. Ta-da!
Nice. Rumor class? I missed that. Unknown?
No, Ranger.
Ranger. I'm sorry, I missed that. Yeah.
Right at the beginning. Yeah.
Ranger. Cool.
Yep.
Specialty, is he like do your rangers have specialty? Is he a dragon hunter specialist? You know how
I imagine he would be. I
okay.
didn't specify especially, but yeah, if we
That's
were
cool.
using a specialty, that's what it would be for him.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Nice. Any of that pulled from the dragons out there, pulled from original lore and he's added in as an interactive? I mean, like is that where the land is rich with dragons already?
The land is rich with dragons already.
Okay,
what I didn't have is okay, a lot of dragons spawn, like as in they have large litters, if you wish to call them that, broods. They are in fact hatched from, but but then we don't hear what happens to the kids. We know from the Worms of the North articles that at a certain point they get driven forth by the parents to find their own lairs, fend for themselves, and get out of my territory, sort of thing. And then we don't hear about most of the rest of them. And it's
Okay.
assumed that a lot of them don't make it. They go down, they get killed. And so what in effect, I'm doing is tying off a loose end by telling you what happened to one bunch of them.
Right, right. Which is cool for the for the hero. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love that one. That is cool. And what about his companion? Any just not an anecdote or surviving companion?
He's seeking a life mate.
Right.
I mean, that's the point. He'll
No, the one that survived. The one that survived in the last
Oh,
attack. Anecdotal.
No, that actually happened in the Realms campaign, but it happened not on stage, but as a news and rumor that you found out about in the tavern. Because he did in effect drag a person out alive, so they lived to tell the tale. So and it was like and he dragged him for miles down out of the mountains. Holy crap, sort of thing.
Right.
And all we know is presumably this person flourished to have many more. Went on as an adventurer. That's
Okay.
about all we know.
That's awesome. Love it. Absolutely love it. Whew. These are fun. Giving people a lot. Hey, Jeremy, thanks, man. 5 gifted subs from Jeremy Gamescape 3D. Let's get this hype rolling. Everyone saw Jeremy's new out at the beginning. His Knight's Stronghold set is super cool. Can't wait to get my hands on it and use it. Jeremy's always going to be setting up some great stuff that can kill Ed. I mean, adventure with Ed at Gary Con. Let's see, we'll be there in person. So, oh, come on, man. We're just having some fun, Ed. You know that. So,
Jay, it's my life.
Yeah,
my life, Jay.
Relenter's badass now, man. 9th level, badass. He's getting up there. Yeah.
And every time he goes into battle, the enemy's out of range, or can't possibly
that
do
means
that.
Not stupid. But you got that's what you're. I'm gonna say this in a fun sort of way. That's what your companions are for. They're like they're the ones that can get chewed up. You're in the back. You're in the back, many jawing everyone. Oh, by the way, so we're in the middle of I have this Thursday night. Bill has this multi-class witch mage because Timothy Brannan's witch is its own class. You can multi-class it into magic user as well. And he comes out, I forget, and immediately on a nasty thing I have, he goes many jaws. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot she had that spell, and jump. I'm like, oh man, So like I was like, damn that spell, Ed. Oh yeah.
Hey.
It's such a great spell though. It's wonderful. But then, like I said, I used Flesh Shiver yesterday afternoon. Right, Tim? You love that Flesh Shiver spell. Anna, you're up.
Okay, now I have a very unlikely hero that he's not much of a hero, but it's kind of a fun story, and that proves that even the most common of commoners of little villagers or whatever can become an interesting NPC in its own right, so to speak. So in my Rel Devon campaign, the characters were traveling north from Karlstrand and going up towards, hang on a second here, so the Jalpa.
Cool.
For business, and they were staying at a castle called Kildell. That is one of these stopovers. There's an inn built in with the castle, so to speak.
Devon.
It's along the coach roads between Karlstrand and Jalpa. And the Lord Kildell, he runs a harsh regime, and there is a village a few miles west of there on the borders of the Principality of Rel Devon called Bamil. I invented that village. And there is a farmer called Totrand. His name is Totrand. They don't have, if you nobody, you don't have a surname. So it's Totrand of Bamil, so to speak. Only fancy folks with a real family, they have a surname, or they otherwise you called whatever profession you have. And if you have nothing, you simply put where you come from as yours. So you're Totrand of Bamil. And he's a simple farmer, and with a wife and we don't know kids that didn't come up in the story, but anyway, so he has a few cows and some goats and whatever. So and he was out there tending to them in the field, and they managed to run over to or walk over or at least escape over to the lands of Kildell that are Lord Kildell. He is a mean kind of steward of the lands. The Savener, the overking of Elissa, he owns all the lands. So he just have these overseers that the lords that run the various keeps and stuff to maintain his lands. So he saw when the cattle and his Totran's animals are strayed over to his lands, he grabbed them immediately and is like, oh, they're now mine, and grabbed them in the name of the overking. But Totran, he's not the one to take it lightly. So he went to the court and pleaded to get his cattle back, so to speak, and stood there with Biden. And that's where the story starts, because the characters were in there and they wanted to see what was happening and snooping around a little bit, just to like looking for adventure, whatever. And here's Totrand, he's standing there with his family and a few other villagers, terrified. But Totrand, he's not going to take it. So he stands there and shouts out and say that the Overking should not take our common hard-earned possessions and so on and so forth. And Lord Kildell, he realized that this might be a business opportunity, but he wants to kill him outright. But he realized he maybe he squeeze out a few more golds before he do something. So he throws him in jail and put saying that you 50 gold or you stay in jail until you sober up and don't yell invectives at the Overking. And the characters, they feel very like they feel pity on the little poor farmer that say that, so they pay the 50 gold to get him out of jail because they thought that they were doing a good thing. What they didn't realize that Totram, he runs out, he thanks them, runs out, yells to all the farmers. So he comes back with 500 angry farmers with hay forks and clubs and stuff, and stand outside and say that now we're going to burn this damn place down and we hate you and
Burn
so
it
on
to
and
the
so
ground.
forth. Exactly. And we stole. So they have rebellion on their hands. And Lord Kildare is not smart. He realized who paid the bounty. So he realized, oh, these damn characters who came, they must be the leaders of this rebellion. So now they're wanted by Sevener the Overking.
I love it.
Yeah, and realize that damn, so they are now almost being and so the characters have a quick flee, fight, or whatever. So they ran into they were smart enough that they flee into the mass of farmers and stuff. They thankfully they didn't kill the first one. They knock him unconscious, the first guard, because they are kind of a 10, 11 level character. So the first guard, they simply whack him. So he these guards that Lord Kildell had, they say, oh, arrest these guys. So they simply whack him to the ground, run into the farmers and the heap. And the farmers, of course, they these uproarious villagers and whatnot. They of course protect them and say, oh, and then they realize we all need to flee. So all of a sudden they have to come back to Reldevin with 800 angry farmers who have to flee from Lord Kildell, and then they have to go to Carvin's court and plead, say, can you please let these people stay, and so on and so forth. So then they had to pay another 2,000 gold to get them set up and stuff to otherwise, yes, because Carvin, he's a decent soul or human being, but he still doesn't want empty mouths. Someone needs to support them to get them set up and stuff. So the characters had to play that too. And so Totrand, that I thought would just be a name in the footnotes, he turned out to be 6 sessions long NPC that all of a sudden turned out to be very important to the story, and they eventually became good friends and stuff. So he was a nobody, just a name. I just took a name generator and had that little story, and I thought it would be a 5-minute amusement in the campaign. And then it was 6 sessions of and it became a story in the campaign, so to speak.
That's awesome.
So my story with this is that make small NPCs, make a 1-sentence little story, sprinkle it in, and magic might happen. So it happens from time to time in your campaign.
You get to run with it. You get to
Yeah.
you get to
Mhm.
see where it goes, because
Yeah.
we're not developing an NPC like that with 6 pages of background.
No. It
Maybe
was one
3
sentence.
lines. Yeah,
Exactly. I had like
exactly.
two, 3 sentences
That's
that
it.
he was pleading there for his cows that have strayed over and so on. And the rest I just
No.
invented because it was a sandbox. So I had to invent on the fly
Yep.
as the story unfold as we played. So to
That's
speak.
awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's the way to do it, Anna. That's awesome.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
fantastic.
Yeah. So that was Totran the farmer from Bamil. Yep.
And you got a village too. You added a village.
Oh, yeah, it's a small little
Yeah.
village on the west of Kildell that is about 30 miles north of Karlstrand.
It's always
So, yeah.
fun. It's always
In
fun
the
meeting locations.
capital
Yep.
principality of Karlstrand. So it's over King Saviner's
Saviner's,
personal
yep.
domain, so to speak,
Yep.
that he oversees. So yeah.
Thanks, Jeremy, for giving a shot on that. It's all good, man. Thank you. We had a success there. I really appreciate it. So, Ed, it's Greyhawk. It's Greyhawk NPC, Greyhawk Hero Heroine time. A new one for you all.
Okay.
Right? Because you got 1, 2, 3 left. Right?
Okay. Yeah. So, I'd like you all to meet Princess Ulara, the far-traveled adventuring daughter of King Snur Ironbelly and Queen Fruppy, rulers of the fire giants.
Oh.
Remember them?
Yes.
Way back when? Okay, Hulara is 12 feet tall and thinner than her mother. She has reddish hair and resembles her father, sans beard. She has his prominent nose and scowling brows. Like her mother, she's smarter than she seems, but they were too much alike in character and frequently fought until her father encouraged Hulara to see the world and travel afar, stay away from home.
Yeah.
Hulara eagerly obeyed and earned much experience, becoming self-reliant, hardy, and independent. She never wanted to return to the fire giant's court with its vicious intrigues and ever-present air of tense, about-to-explode menace. Hulara is best described as chaotic neutral. She dislikes authority, seeing it always inevitably leading to abuse and oppression, but sometimes sides with good folk, and at other times with evil folk. She likes dwarves, humans, and even elves as friends and adventuring companions, and by the few who know of her is counted as a heroine. Although she's inclined against authority, she likes peace and good order, seeing lawlessness and ever-present skirmishes as terrorizing the farmers we all need, be we giants or puny. She particularly detests those who use magic to harm or control, favoring only healing and mending magic. The few wizards she adventures with have learned to request her support for the spells they hurl. However, her anger at offensive magic uses doesn't extend to preventing allies from hurling battle spells in a fight. In 594 CY, when the Scarlet Brotherhood raided Onwall, Hulara happened to be visiting that realm and blunted their attack with her fierce fighting and unofficial in-the-streets leadership of its defenders. In 596 CY, after Narwhal fell to the army of the Pomage, Hulara fought many victorious bands of orcs, gnolls, and ogres preying on human refugees fleeing to Blackwall Keep. Many of the survivors revere her for saving their lives. Fear of her is rising among orcs everywhere. Beware the princess at your back.
Oh, wow.
She keeps a low profile and wanders constantly with an ever-changing, thanks to her strong will, band of adventuring companions. Her current whereabouts are unknown.
That is
Ta-da.
cool. And if you're worried about her traveling in your Greyhawk, you can always have her have an amulet that does change self or something, right? That's what you can always do for a fire giantess.
Yeah.
You can always there's always little tricks you can do so that you don't have to worry about, oh, she's gonna not be allowed in the town that I'm adventuring in. Well, that's not necessarily the case. There's ways around it. So that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's outside the box too. A little
And
different.
back to the old deep lore. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to give you guys not just the usual heroes.
Yeah,
Not
that's
just the
cool.
usual. Yeah.
Absolutely. That I like that one a lot. I may even use that one in an upcoming adventure.
Mwahaha.
Perfect. Prof. Shattered Saint, thank you. So we got enough extra stuff. So I'm gonna do. I'll do the winner tonight for the classic. We'll get two reprints. So we're good on that. Yep. The next one is she's a member of the Circle of Eight, and probably out of all the ones that I heard about in the Greyhawk Dungeon Master's Guide, I was the most pissed off about. And that is, whoops! Oh God! Let me hit the wrong button. It flips all the time. I don't know. This is a Dungeon Meister artwork out of Deviant Art that I use all the time. I have permission. This is a player character. This is Laura Lee, but here she is. That's Jalarzi Salivarian there, Mariel and Otto in this picture. And I really, I've always loved the Jalarzi character, and I've always used her in Greyhawk and around the youngest member of the Circle of Eight. A really cool character. Yeah, that is. Yeah, Otto's in this picture too. Yeah, Mariel is her. I played Mariel one time, and in the campaign, and I just Greyhawk is filled with so many interesting characters, and this is one that she's on the side of good, not on the side of evil. And Ed, that last one you just said, I loved it because the character fought the Scarlet Brotherhood, which made my day. Because I hate the Scarlet Brotherhood. Yeah, I really do. I just despise them with a passion. So, yeah. So always look for Jalarzi in and around Greyhawk City to help an adventuring party with her spells, and you can make her whatever level you want to be. I think she's like 13th through 15th as of this time of the publications, and going up in level. I don't think she ever made Archmage. I was really happy when I got the Great City Greyhawk box set and she was added in. We're starting to make up some spells for her because we have the Greyhawk Mage class, and we're working on Jalarzi spells so we can get her as one of the Greyhawk Mage options. So, to be continued on that.
Nice.
Yep. Alrighty. That's cool. Well, you should have a long-standing feud, Black Dog, because he was responsible for turning her into a dude in the Return of the Ape by Roger Moore. You know, the evil Jay. The ironies of that, right? Yeah. So, yes, he turned Tensor into a freaking what was it, Dretch, and Jalarzi into a guy. Who was a little evil at the time. Yeah, so that makes total sense for that enmity to continue onward after that great Roger Moore adventure, which is on my wall of fame, as a matter of fact. So Ed, we're going to go to another Forgotten Realms one now, and after that, I promise I'll have the Winchester tree up by then. So
Okay.
yes. So your last one in the unknowns news of Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, and it's time to give you something unusual again.
Yep.
Lurskrag Thult. Lurskrag Thult. A kobold male of the usual mottled red reptilian appearance. He is agile and has superb balance, and so can climb, jump, and cling far better than many adversaries. He's also fearless, but not foolhardy, avoiding fights to the death in favor of relocating to fight another day. Like most of his kind, Lurskrag doesn't fight fair, makes frequent use of traps, especially along a planned escape route, and will flee without hesitation to avoid being cornered. Lurskrag began his career among human-dominated society as a stealth spy for hire by wealthy merchants and later smuggling gangs in Athkatla. He later became a bandit, preying on rich former clients, and made a huge fortune in 1482 DR with a swift series of successful gem heists. Set For life, he made many covert investments to give himself a stable income and abruptly relocated to the Sword Coast North, the Dales, and Sembia, managing to maraud in all of those areas because he discovered ancient gates or portals allowing swift travel across the continent of Faerun. Lurskag is considered a hero by many because he harasses wealthy merchants and nobles who use their power to cheat, dominate, or coerce others. He dislikes anyone becoming too powerful without also officially ruling. He considers official rulers to have assumed the role of official targets, and so are potentially paying the price for their power. And for his defense of many coerced and beset Sembians and Cormyreans when the mercenary armies of Thultanzar, returned Netheril, or Shade, were marauding across those realms. Lurskag spied on mercenaries and slaughtered all he saw who mistreated women, children, prisoners, and non-combatants, striking by night and when he could catch them alone if he was too late to remedy their fell deeds, but swooping in to defend whenever he could. He was dubbed the Scaly Red Hope by someone in Sembia during these years when he tirelessly roved and fought, slaying even Netherese arcanists when they unleashed cruel spells on laborers or sought to enslave. These days, Lurskag still swoops to the aid of the beset, more often in the Dales, Daggerdale in particular, than elsewhere, and he reserves his special attention for Zhentarim and Red Wizards. He has begun to amass magic items he can wear and carry that heal him, so he can now survive attacks that would formerly have laid him low.
Nice. I don't think I want to come across him. Wow. Anyone looking for him?
Oh, lots of people are looking
Like
for him.
any big names, like someone.
Yes, okay. These big names will be unknown outside the Home Realms campaign, but yes, the Red Wizards have, sorry, the Zhentarim have sort of duty agents, like the James Bond agents assigned to a particular area, and this guy is on their hit list, shit list.
Sounds like it. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, I wouldn't want to piss them off either.
No, no.
So I just answered the answers is Zent. Who would win in an all-out brawl, the Scarlet Brotherhood or the Zhentarim?
That would okay. You know how I always weasel by saying it depends,
Right.
because it always depends. In this case, it depends where is the battle being fought.
That's true. That's true.
Which setting?
Yeah.
And what are the circumstances? Because whoever in that battle has to defend something, like a place or a point, they are at a disadvantage in the brawl. Whereas somebody who can move around freely and doesn't care what damage they do to the battlefield or the
Right.
area, the old, those of you who remember some of the recent Superman movies, they actually had one in which I thought they broke the character because he is attacked by foes and he decides, because it's more cinematic, to have the battle in the city and destroy the city around them.
Yeah.
Take it outside,
Man
to
of Steel.
save people.
Yeah.
And
That
but
one.
I it's the same sort of thing would apply depending on who's doing the fighting and what's going on. But in general, the Zhentarim are more used to on the ground fighting, daily fighting, and they have far more in the way of wizardly firepower. And the way Manchun has set it up is you have to impress him. It's like, what have you done for me lately? So all of these magelings, all these, up and coming, rising wizards are trying to impress him by being the bad man on the block in every fight. So they are atrocity prone, as we used to call it, you know. And therefore I would put my money on the Zhentarim in
Okay.
a what you would call a fair fight. And there's no such thing as but
Right. There is.
what I mean is, if we were in the realms, in a remote corner of the realms, away from Zent bases and strongholds, I would still put my money on the Zents. If we were in particular places, um, say near the free city of Greyhawk, I might put my money on the Scarlet Brotherhood, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, sure, sure, absolutely. Home field advantage would be huge there. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it would.
Absolutely. You know, I was just the kind of their ethos is different, but the organization seems to be aligned similarly with different levels of right, secret
Yeah,
agents and all sorts of things. So
I see a lot of the Scarlet Brotherhood's actual activity as being slow, gradual corruption takeover, and a lot less. I'm going to send an army against you.
yeah, which is
You
what
know,
happened though in From the Ashes, and that's kind
yeah,
of where I kind of lost it. And myself and Greyhawk Mike both are like, "Nah, I don't like this."
yeah. Now, yeah, I have to. Years and years ago, um, I had a long talk with Carl Sargent,
Oh,
without being
okay, good
face to
story.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking back and forth because I was asked to consult with him for a Dragon article about what we do with this and that when it comes to Greyhawk, if we were going to include them more in Pages from the Mages. Like, what can I say is going on in the setting? What can I have Mordenkainen say when he's sitting there drinking and eating in my study?
Good point.
And I had to say to Carl, there are a lot of people who dislike what you've done in From the Ashes, but you were given an impossible assignment. Like, you can't please everybody.
No.
It's guaranteed you're not going to please this, that, or the other person with what you did to their setting, because you've been given this brief to, give us a restart, bring us up to date, and no matter what you write, some people aren't going to like it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have a lot of sympathy for Carl because he is relatively isolated, or was at that time. Not that he's with us or anything, but I mean, at the time he was relatively isolated across the pond from the cut and thrust of American fandom, attending conventions and talking in panels and so on. So he's on his own, trying to decide where to jump with the setting.
Yeah.
And I think he did a good job considering the circumstances.
Oh
You
yeah,
see what I mean?
I use 80%, 85% of From the Ashes myself. But it did take me longer to incorporate it into my setting. Like
Oh yeah.
I waited until the right time. I pre-prepped with it, and so White might have you change. Who are you asking that to, Dave? Are you asking that to me, or are you asking that to Ed, or both of us, or Anna, and all of us? I mean, I've already changed stuff. Yeah. So a lot of the player characters I got killed. I didn't kill off. I don't have the I don't have the Sea Princess being overrun in one night by the Scarlet Brotherhood. I think it's stupid.
Stupid.
Yeah. Oh, good. So Ed, you, me, and Greg, Mike all agree on that one. That one is just too
Well,
far.
I agree with you for the most part too. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Anna. That's
Oh
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I
I
think
like them
that Scarlet
subterfuge.
Brotherhood, they're putting their noses in so many messes that they will have been overwhelmed if needed. But I think they have a presence there, and and
Presence I can
in my
understand.
take is that it's so
Yeah.
much chaos there, so they probably sense political weakness, so to speak, and
Right.
military weakness, especially political weakness, because I think their tactics is more hybrid warfare than outright warfare. So they sense that the Sea Princess is a chaotic place, which, in their opinion, coming from being very methodical in their thinking and rigid, that they see that as a weakness. So they're there hammering at the gate, so to speak, trying to get in, and they got a few openings, and that's as far as it goes, because chaos have a tendency of overwhelming orderly organized effort too. So it's a struggle between two different ways of looking at the world and governing, and none of them are particularly effective, and it's not that big hegemon, so to speak. Meaning Scarlet Brotherhood, I don't see them as an empire going that far and putting in enormous amount of resources doing it. But it's like, can we get it done cheaply? Then we will do it. So yeah.
Nice.
Let's be honest. There are a lot of mistakes made, and that you can just ignore, or that they don't happen. We all
Well,
know.
yeah.
We all know what happened at a bar to 10,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
during
but a
Living
lot of that,
Greyhawk.
yeah, but a lot of that people write off as mistakes. I like it. I like Carl Sargent's handling of Greyhawk for the most part. And the interesting thing is that some of the stuff that I hated for him almost, yeah, be talking 30 years ago when it came
Right.
out, and I was much younger and much more hot-headed than I am now. That means that I almost hated him for abolishing the Horn Society. And what the heck did he do with the IUs and the Horn Society? But somehow I started to think, okay, I've been giving lemons. What the heck? How can I make lemonade out of this? And now I really like what he did, not because how he did it, but because he got me to start thinking. And in that way, I have to give him a lot of credit because he got me thinking.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it helped me even professionally to start thinking outside the box, meaning how the heck can I square this round hole and put a peg in it, so to speak. And that is very helpful in other sense too. So he taught me a thing or two when I was like 25 or 30 or something like that. So he helped me understand and practice thinking outside the box, so to speak, which was good. So that was so even if I didn't like it at the time, it was useful. It helped me shape my view of and way of my version of Greyhawk, so to speak. So I have to give him a lot of credit for that.
And also note there was Zeb Cook with the Wars that did that, and then Sargent was
Oh yeah,
handed
and
it,
Roger E. Moore the same way. But
did
Roger E.
it,
Moore,
yeah.
it was he tried his task was to mend it all. So
Yep, yep.
so that his task in that sense was maybe
Yep.
not easier, but it was easier for me to digest at a time, so to speak. Yeah.
No, agreed 100%. Good points. Great points. So, all right, here you go. I'm going to show you this. This is the Winchester family tree, and you'll see, if you're good, you can see the joke in it. So this is the Charles IV branch of the. It goes back, as far as the Kings of Keelan go. But like all the player characters start up here, in this realm up here, and then we have the next group. Here's Lady Mayor Charisse marrying into it right there. And here is, as you can see, Fritz is on his own course because Emerson III is the fallen paladin. He actually was seduced by a cult, which I have in my group game called the Amazons of the Crimson Moon. So technically, his wife was with like the milkman, and that's why Fritz is like a. That's why. Yeah, you get it now.
Curtis.
Yes, Curtis knows. So Fritz and Emerson IV are half brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so they're half brothers. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Just so you got it. And so we're talking about over here. So you can see how it goes off multiple. So on this side, it's 2, 3, 4. They're like third cousins. Anyone down on this level, Elijah IV and Emerson IV are like third. As you can see, it doesn't connect back up. So they're third cousins. I think they're third. 1, 2. Yeah, second, third. Yeah. So there you go. And I've been doing this since, the 80s. So, yeah. But you get it. Charles Emerson Winchester. Right, Ed?
Yep.
MASH.
Yeah.
Charles Emerson Winchester. Yes, that's the joke.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how.
Oh yeah.
It's not.
I'm of that age.
Yes, and it's not supernatural. Everyone, suck it. I had my Winchesters well before Dean and yes, even though I love the show, but just letting you know. Okay. All right, Anna.
We have a good question first from Rencaro. How often do you use mass combat happens in your games?
Are we talking mass combat? Hundreds, thousands, or 50 or 20 by 20? Because I've done mass combat. Hey, Sam, good to see you. Mass combat is very tough. So I do the small fight in the big picture kind of stuff on my
Bingo.
Team.
Yeah,
that's the way to
champions. The champions.
That's it, and that's the way to do it. And I did some for. I had a pre-wars, I had a bandit realm invasion into the Shieldlands. At a place called Fortress Elendar, which is on the map, and a place on the map for me. And that it works way better because we tried battle system back in the 80s and just don't like it. Just don't. And so I'd rather do it that other way. The biggest fight I've done recently was during the 24-hour stream when I had a huge number of creatures on the table for the Death of Prince Trisaren fight, which was really gross. It was a Bush and Sundance moment at the end because it assumed everyone dies at the end of that. So, but that's a good question. So Anna, you go and answer that one. And then
Yeah,
Ed, you can
and I saw that I
Thanks, Dave.
wanted to depict the big battles and stuff like that in my games when I started in the second when we played second edition in the late 80s. That's when or mid 80s, late 80s when I realized that they need and I looked into battle system came out and stuff, but that was way too complicated. I needed something because I wanted to run it in parallel with what the characters are doing. So I wanted a way to depict the characters being part of a large battle with thousands of critters if need be. And the battle system was not the tool for that. That was like running a war game where the character but I wanted to run a regular session, but huge battles around that was the characters could impact the battles surrounding, but the surrounding battles could also impact the characters. So I was trying to figure out and gradually I have evolved, and that's going now into Hawk Tales formally, a 3-tier combat system. You have and actually you kind of have a 4-tier, but the 4-tier is the jousting rules and stuff that if you want to have super detailed combat between a character and one other enemy at a whatever, if you want to have like a special fight, you can have even more. But you have the normal rule that when the characters are involved with a few up to like 10, 12, maybe 15 enemies. So I draw a hard limit at 20 enemies. Then I use full rules. You have full rounds and use hit points and actions and all of that. And then you have the minion rules on top of it. Let's say I want the characters to defend a wall at a huge siege, so to speak. You have like the characters and 200 defenders are defending a castle against 5,000 enemies coming. And then what I do is that if the characters have one section of wall they're supposed to defend, I take the characters fight the bigger, more important enemies coming up. They fight them full rules. The rest I use minion rules, are the ones that tie in directly with the normal rule system. And it's not one hit point. They have a few hit points, so to speak, and they can't spend any extra resources or do extra actions. They can do basically one thing. They can just attack or cast one spell or whatever it is. And they have, depending on how many hit points they will have, there's like a simple formula giving them, for instance, if you do less than 5 points of damage, they survive. And if you do more than 5 points of damage, they die. They always fail their saves, normally, and so on. So they easily die from spells. So if you use fireballs or whatever, they die en masse, which is kind of adds to the fun. So you can start killing lots of enemies. But the problem is that they also have full attacks. So once they come close, they can overwhelm you. So they can be very, very dangerous, even if you kill them a lot. That adds a lot of cool stuff. But then I wanted things, another set of rules for things that are outside of the character's reach. They're too far away to cast spells, but they can still come and affect the battle, so to speak. So let's say I use the sending of the next cohort of 3,000 or 500 soldiers of some sort. What can the other 100 or so cavalry that are stationed around that is coming in to assist taking the siege away of the castle? What can they do? And then I use the CR of the monster, a simple formula where you take the stat block and you just take basically the CR. Do they have any ranged attacks or can they only attack close up? And also their base movement rate. And you use the CR against each other, and then you can simply aggregate them up. So you can aggregate, and the rules say how many of them you can aggregate. So you have like orc soldiers, you can aggregate 100 of them, and they're each like 1/10 of a CR or 1/4 of a CR. So they become like 25 CR. And then you have a dragon that is 25. Then they can fight, and you roll a d20 on each side, and they simply affect their CR plus the hit die on damage on the other side. And the thing is that the defense they go against each other. So it's the net outcome of the die roll for either side that becomes the number of points you deduct, so to speak. And the difference between the dragon and if that's, say, a good dragon that comes in and help the good side, and all the evil orcs, is that they are the same CR, but the dragon wipes out half the orcs. So let's say the dragon rolls on the die and get 12 more than the orcs do. That means that the orcs will lose their CR, their effectiveness, because half of them are wiped out. The dragon is still CR 25 the next round around, so to speak. So one powerful monster is much more powerful
sure.
than hundreds of orcs,
Yeah.
but get close and they will wipe you out, so to speak. So that, and it works. It's not perfect by any means, but
There is
it's
no
good
perfect
enough.
mass combat
Exactly,
system.
but it's quick. You
There's
can do a whole
quick's
battle
good.
in 2 minutes with thousands of critters in a few minutes around the battlefield, and it's just there to give more uncertainty and fun stuff happening, so to speak. And I usually have hexes that are 100 feet in size for the surrounding battle. So then I have everything that happens within the 100 feet hex closest to the characters. I run that in full combat. The rest of it, I have that on a separate board where I draw, where I have simple counters and say, there you have the orcs there, you have the demon lord there, the dragons come in, you have cavalry, and the characters can navigate in that environment. So that's my tier system, so to speak.
How about you, Ed?
I am, when listening to this, I am at once awestruck. At the same time, I'm channeling my inner Kelvin and Hobbes. It's like, you said this was a game.
Right.
This is math class.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's simple. They have one value, and you roll 20, and you add the
Sure.
value on each side, and then
Sure.
the net outcome is hurting the underdog, so to speak, the loser. That's it.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead, Ed.
no, I just wanted to say one thing. There is, in existence, somewhere in this house, a set of 6 90-minute cassette tapes. You know, that tells you how long ago we were doing this.
Wow.
In which the Zhentarim were attacking Shadowdale, and the Knights of Mithranor were defending Shadowdale with the militia of Shadowdale, farmers with pitchforks, and they're fighting against the Zant armies. And psionics were involved in the fighting, as well as spells. And like Anna was saying, we were doing it as individual heroic combats in the middle of a huge army melee, in which the Zents, who are professional soldiers, are mopping the floor with the militia, because they aren't retreating at all. They're fighting for their children, their farms. They live here. They've got nowhere to run. So they will fight to the last man or last person or whatever. But they're not very imaginative in terms of tactics or whatever. So guess what? The Zents are going to mop the floor with them. So that's exactly what's happening in the background constantly. They're losing all the army fights. And in the foreground, the heroes are doing their thing.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, and the reason we burnt that many cassette tapes, because we're arguing over the psionic rules of the time. But wait a minute, wouldn't his intellect fortress, that sort of stuff.
Oh man.
Mhm.
And this overlies and laces through the entire combat. And at the end of it, we all sat down at my kitchen table with libations and laughed over it and said, okay, we're never effing doing that again.
Yeah, it's
and you see, here's the thing. All of my original players were veteran war gamers, as in Sandtable, as in Donald Featherstone, as in Minis. And we all agreed that, okay, if there's one thing D&D isn't, it's a decent simulation of, it's not.
Exactly.
No.
It's not meant for that. So let's never handle things this way again,
Yep.
ever. We will do things to avoid the on the table thing. And if we do have moments like that, we will stop, and Dungeon Master and players will say, "How do you want to handle this?" And it'll be, we'll do it cheek by jowl, different methods every time, but we're no matter what, we're avoiding that sort of mass combat.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, because
Yep.
what we wanted more than anything else was a role-playing simulation. We wanted it to feel real
Right.
and have the right pacing and so on, which is why we didn't want to go with, your standard any sort of combat system, because we didn't want it to feel like a game. We wanted to feel
Yep.
like you are there in the realms as
Yep.
this fight is going on, and farmers are dying all around you because they will not retreat. Because,
Yep.
if you ruin my farm, I starve in the spring anyway. So I can't retreat. And my children are behind me. I'm fighting for them. I'm giving them time to get out. And of course, that's what a lot of the fighting became. The heroes realizing we can't win this. Now we have to try and get as many of the women and children out so there is a Shadowdale tomorrow. Even if we're, in somebody else's land, somewhere else, there will be people who can come back and repopulate and farm again. Because if we don't, the people are gone. And then it really doesn't matter if the Zents take the territory. The people are all dead. And we were there and we didn't prevent that. So they start trying to get people out. And then, of course, the Zents are just doing we're going to strafe the retreating columns type behavior. They're doing run and fight. And that's when the heroes get really angry and they start calling in favors. And you get the Cormyreans, who have just been largely, oh, this isn't our territory, going, screw that. If they're going to behave like that, we'll be next. So then they started coming to the aid. The cavalry came over the hill. It's that moment in the Two Towers in the movie where they
Right.
they
Yeah.
look for me on the third day.
Yeah.
And they come bucketing over the hill, and the Zents are going, "Uh-oh, we got to get out of here," and
Yep.
which made it once again a role playing moment, not
Yep.
a.
And it's so hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to
Yeah.
to do it off. Here, just real quick. This is from Thursday night. Just so you see, I have ballistas, siege towers, battering rams, all from either Reaper or Miniature Building Authority, so I can use them. I just don't have any of the older pictures from when I really did a lot of large scale battles. They're on the other computer, the old PC downstairs in the basement. So there you go. But it's just like, it's always been a challenge, but there are ways of doing it.
Yeah.
You just got to figure out what works for you and your group, and what's deemed fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
On those large scale battles.
Yeah. So I hope you got some
Yeah.
answers to that. Was a great question. Yep.
But we have one more Greyhawk hero / heroine from Ed, new, coming still. Right? The
Oh,
last one.
Do you want it now?
Do I want it now, Ed? I want it now, Ed.
Or as we say in the library,
Yes.
Is now.
Because I imagine we're going to take a lot of questions at the end here. So,
sure.
yeah.
Okay. So all together now. Welcome to Uzalt. UXALT, pronounced Uzalt, a beholder of dusty, dark maroon hue and unusual size. Its spherical body is 9 feet across, as opposed to the usual 5-foot diameter. Whimsical in disposition and friendly with humans, elves, dwarves, and especially halflings, Uzalt, more often called simply Zalt, pronounced, Zalt, as if it's XALT, short form, but pronounced as if it was ZALT, is a solitary hunter who uses many overnight shelters, usually caves or ruins, rather than lairs, moving often. Zalt is counted an unlikely hero by many folk in or near the Cairn Hills, the gnarly forest, and the Duchy of Ernst, thanks to unexpectedly coming to the aid of many peddlers, pilgrims, traveling merchants, and even adventurers beset by other monsters while traveling overland. Zalt does not believe itself to be smart. important or the epitome of its race, and is not particularly paranoid, but is cunning in battle and does anticipate attacks intended to exploit its weaknesses, so it often uses hit and run tactics as opposed to standing and fighting foes. Zalt dreams of a world of endless side by side farms where sentient creatures farm dumb beasts for food, rulers control only cities and towns, and there are no invasions, raids, or large scale wars. It knows that this is an impossible dream, but prefers to devote its life to making its vision more possible, in part by aiding just plain folk, and in part by disrupting armies and war preparations as opposed to garrisons. Zult has formed lasting friendships with some merchants and adventurers and will come to their aid or request their assistance, but knows such alliances are best conducted in private for the protection of its allies.
See, you just gave me a great idea with that, Ed. I'm gonna have a kid or something come to the adventures. She should go the Salt Man, the salt. She can't say it right. Instead of Zalt, she's saying salt. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
Salt Man.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and just like not all beholders should be vilely evil. This one's something happened, and this one's like, I'm wandering about and doing this. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That is good. So there you go. We got 3 for Forgotten Realms and 3 for Greyhawk in this discussion. So really a fun time here. Andy, do you have any others you'd like? Another one you'd like?
Yeah,
to
I have one from my Shieldlands campaign that
Go
I
for
don't
it.
think I've mentioned, and he hasn't been on my official adventure or the adventure I played
Sure.
in cons and stuff yet. So I can mention him because he's one of Katarina's secret aides or out there, and he's the opposite from Baston in the sense that he operates as far away from court life and the fancy life as possible. He's called Ottoman. He's a stern-looking 6'5" flan. He's the Aragon type, so to speak. I mean, he's ready. He's the one that roams. He speaks flan, goblin, orc, and a bunch of stuff like that. He's the one that he's the eyes and ears behind enemy lines. He roams there and see what's happened. Usually in the quiet, so to speak. He's very capable. He's like 16th, 18th level, so to speak. He's been around. He survived the war and stuff by staying stealthy and get too close to. He has a companion. Of course, they have to have a companion. He has Kestmo, a companion that is half warg, half Blackmoor wolf. And Blackmoor wolf is a special breed of wargs with blue eyes that are more of good alignment, so to speak. So he's a large one, and he is a beast in itself, so to speak. So Kestmo and Ottoman, and nowadays his job is at least half the time is to school new people, new recruits into the shield patrol. So he sees if they have the right stuff, so to speak. So if they can survive behind enemy lines, if they're capable, reliable, and so on. So he can and he's one of these take no prisoners kind of guy. He's fighting for the good side, but he had no problem to put an IUCN priest, nail him to put him on his spike to get the information out of him and leave him to die, so to speak. So he's ruthless when needs to be, but he knows who he's fighting for. So he knows the odds, and he likes to be out there, and a lot of there is a huge bounty on IU's realize that who is dealing with. So he's now Ottoman is being ordered to stay close now and don't risk it as much anymore, so to speak. So his role becoming more and more as a trainer and advisor and so on from field. But he's one of these that I would have as if you want to have let's say you have low level characters and you want or mid level, like 5-6 level characters that are going on a mission for the first time, and you want to have someone to evaluate them to see if that, and you run them through a boot camp, and that could be a great way of getting. They have to fight false enemies, so to speak. But have them believe characters believe it's a half illusion, half real, so to speak. And you fight until you're bloodied and not until you die. But you can put them through a stern boot camp to test it out, and it could be a great initiation of the campaign. Let's say they're third level and you need them to be fifth level to or sixth level. Then you can have Ottoman as the one that drill instructor that goes and demands a lot of stuff, but you get the characters up a couple of levels, 3 levels or something, and then into the adventures. You get like a pre-adventure where you can hone out the skills, they can learn the right stuff, and you can have fun and so on. Or he can be the one can take them instead of having a boot camp that is training, he will be the one guiding them around in more likely infested IUCN lands to see how they're doing. And when they're screwed up and almost dead wherever, he will come in and chop off a few heads, tell them that no, this is not the way to do it, you need to do it this way instead when you meet them, and see how it goes. So he's one that can be the nasty drill instructor, but also their best friend, so to speak, because he's been around the bend more than a few times, and he knows some magic as well, and stuff. So especially the old druidic variant, so to speak, and there's always rumors say that he can become a warg himself, and so on, but no one really knows. So you can stat him a little bit one way or the other there, the way you do it, so to speak.
Thanks.
And you can give him some cool magic items, maybe even some almost not artifact level, but you can give him some really cool stuff because he's earned it. Yep.
Sounds like a cool one, Anna.
Yep.
I'm going to
And
ask.
he doesn't have a surname. He has no history. That not that he speak of. No one there knows where the heck he comes from originally. So yeah.
Let's discuss this. Hero, anti-hero, or self-serving jerk? Gord. Categorize Gord.
Yeah,
Gord the Rogue.
Sorry, go ahead.
Gord the Rogue, right?
Yep.
Okay. Hero, anti-hero, or another character who's just out for his for his own interests. What are your thoughts? It's a great story.
Oh yeah, it's a great story, and it's a great introduction to Greyhawk.
Right.
And I like Gord because he is multi-dimensional in that sense, that he's not a pure hero, and he works a little bit for himself, but he has a general understanding of where he want to be. And now I'm talking about the first 2 books, because down the line it gets more complicated. But I also like the fact that he doesn't have a pure alignment. I tend to this alignment that you have good fighting or whatever, the lawful good and so on. No, I have the alignment is the methods you're using, not necessarily who you're aligned with. It's the methods and the ethics that you employ, but your enemy's enemy is your friend. So, and I like, because I get a little bit of these vibes from Gord, so to speak. He fights with his best friends, for his best friends, but he's not one who goes loyal to something or has follow an ideology or so that so I would have him. He's a bit of a freewheeler in that sense, but he wants well, but he doesn't necessarily think of the big picture, which is kind of cool. I like that way, especially for me. It's the type of hero that I have a hard time creating. I'm so messed up with my political picture that everybody tries to go.
I love the anti-hero. Yeah. I love creating the jerk that falls into it. I mean, Curtis is taking it on with Fritz. So Sam puts it perfectly. Self-serving jerk who gets stuck being a hero, sort of, which is correct.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
You're dead on, Sam, on that.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
well, okay. I did talk with Gary about this years ago.
Oh, let's hear it. All right.
As we sat at a convention, okay?
Yeah.
Because we were sitting waiting for a panel to start. And he said, Gord is a journey. He is like Conan, Howard's Conan, who was learning about civilization.
Finding his way, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's mostly finding that he doesn't like civilization, as in it's corrupt, it's jaded. There are these sinister wizards everywhere who misuse their magic, mainly to make young women lose their clothes and twine around their ankles. But I mean, it's the I don't like what I see of the world, but I'm learning about the world as I go, because all these things are just names to me.
Right.
as the noble savage, and he said that's the same thing, except I don't want to do Conan. I want to do far more like Fafhrd and Grey Mouser. That
Mhm.
was
Oh,
Gary's
cool.
jam. Um,
Okay.
but he said I want it to be a journey where he is changing. The world is changing him as he sees the world.
Mhm.
And that's very much what you get in the books.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a Greyhawk Road movie, and yeah,
Yeah.
that he really He nailed that one really, really well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a story of a character who needs to make choices, and not all the time are they the best choices, right?
No, and
Yes.
the story is more important than the character,
That's
and I
true.
kind
Yes.
of like
That's right.
that in that
Circumstantial
sense.
hero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring them up to close out
Mhm.
this discussion with heroes, because um, your character in your own campaign doesn't have to be heroic, or doesn't have to be even an anti-hero. It just has to be a person, or whatever whoever it is that falls into a position where I got to make decisions, and either they're going to be good, they're going to be good decisions or bad decisions, or
Yeah,
who knows what
and
direction they're going to go.
since
Yeah,
I run such a sandbox campaign, some NPCs I've started out thinking, oh, they should be good and whatever, but the circumstances turned out differently, and
right.
vice versa.
Okay.
Some of them are, I think, they will probably be some sort of villain and a threat to party, but the party treats him so well that that okay, he switches to them to their side. So, and that's something in my play style. A villain might turn out to be an asset because the characters help him. Some of them were really genuinely like, "Oh, I appreciate the help,"
Yeah.
and vice versa. They might someone who might initially be on the side of the characters, but the characters do something that makes them angry and vengeful or whatever, and turn it differently. And that is the dynamic that I like of a sandbox campaign. I don't have a clue where it will end up when I start. I just I map an area, populate it with NPCs and characters. I don't draw a different what type of there might be dragons to farmers, so to speak, or everything in between. And I have like one sentence of a background and one sentence of their goals and ambitions in life. That's it, and then I just run with it. So
Which is
they
cool.
don't come with an alignment more than some things do, because some things are like a high cleric who simply aligned with the demon lord. So that means that one is evil by taint, and probably by being so indoctrinated, so on. And some undead and stuff, they come by nature. But everything else, meaning an orc, they might appreciate someone who helped them too, so to speak, even if they have slaughtered a village earlier in life, or whatever. So you never know, so to speak. Some are beyond redemption, some are definitely redeemable, so to speak.
With my play style with streaming, especially, and the way I run it
Yeah.
with all the special groups, I have to be a little more structured. But
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that it's a good versus evil battle in my game. But the gray areas are there, a lot of
Mhm.
them,
Yeah.
and those characters can make a huge bit of difference. Just for example, Saturday with and Heather played a great Cobra, right? The fighter bounty hunter. He's based on Snake Plissken, right? But the character's true neutral, and the character though made some really great decisions to deal with a mummy at the end of the fight. It was the one that came up with, wrapped up, immolated his footman's mace, which did extra damage because you know how resistant to weaponry they are, and that's the thing. It's like good and neutral working together, and then sometimes the neutral characters can slip and do
Mhm.
some bad things too. And I like that way, but I can't run a sandbox with my style as much. But that doesn't mean that there's not variables involved in the game.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Ed, how about you, as far as
Mhm.
like in the big picture? Because you have the biggest picture of us all.
Yeah.
In your campaign, like when you decide a direction, do you go to the micro part of the direction and then, or do you go to the macro point of the direction because
Yeah. Where do you start? Are
yeah,
you
yeah,
upside down or down up, so to
yeah.
speak?
I'm
Bottom
I'm
up or
down. I'm bottom up.
So you're
okay.
small. Micro's
Yeah.
up. Yeah,
To
Mhm.
me,
yeah,
it's always looking over the shoulders and into the heads of individual characters,
agreed.
be they human or not. What are they doing on the ground right now?
Yeah, I agree.
And as a then I put on my sages and chroniclers hat,
Mhm.
and I write about the general sweep of things, as in the cumulative effect of all of their individual deeds. But um, to me, the Forgotten Realms is people, not geography. And no offense, because
No, no, but
I
yeah.
look at
Mhm.
Anna's beautiful maps, and it is geography. But
Well, yeah,
but
but that comes in. It's the matter of what things do you introduce first, so to speak. You
Right.
can,
yeah,
yeah,
and I think there is a real world application and problem too here, and I noticed it when I was reading Ben Riggs' book about the history of TSR.
Yeah.
My only criticism of that book is that far too often we were getting the American executive as great man theory of history. He'd say things like, "But TSR was already planning its next move," and I'm thinking, "Nope, I was there.
Yeah.
They weren't planning anything. They
Anything.
were planning getting the
They're
next
like,
product out
that
oh,
was
and
it's
not
scurrying
done.
missing."
around, just acting
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
keeping the current at bay, so to speak. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Surviving. They were worried
yeah,
about
Keeping,
survival.
yeah, yeah. Worry about survival and getting the
yeah,
next product out and not missing deadlines and keeping the lights on and experimenting with new things as the game that they were working on changed with every release they. But all this stuff about um uh, brilliant, far-sighted executives sitting around a boardroom table planning a future economically for the company or the economy or the United States of America. That's the great man's theory that is just
hmm,
BS when
yeah,
the rubber hits the road. When
hmm,
you're there, it's just individual people making individual decisions that they have to make because it's their job or
yeah,
because a disaster happens and they have to decide what to do.
hmm,
And um, in the same way, when you're running your campaign, if you keep it down at the level of individual characters making decisions, it's a lot easier to dungeon master.
hmm,
It makes a lot more sense in the moment. And of course, what we are seeing as people who are chronicling, especially Jay, when you're doing 2 drink minimum, in the heat of a fight, people are doing what they have to do to stay alive or to win the moment, and all this thing about grand planning and so on.
yeah,
Okay, that might be okay for, say, an empire that, like, sort of the Holy Roman Empire of the day is on top already and trying to decide how to handle its runaway mercenaries. They
yeah,
might actually have the leisure of planning and the necessity of planning. Everybody else is just trying to get the harvest in before the snows fly and all
Right.
the other, daily on the and if you run it that way, it's a lot easier to run
hmm,
as a dungeon master. It makes a lot more sense when as in trying to figure out what individual characters would do, because you're putting yourself in their shoes, you
yeah,
know. So you don't have to think about what are my great grand plans and which way would they go. No, what are they going to do? Well, it's pretty obvious in this moment what they're going to do, so they do it. And
yeah,
and yeah.
Hey,
Anyway,
thank you, because that's my style.
yeah.
How many of your adventures, and you've run probably 15 now, have changed the direction of the Greyhawk campaign setting?
hmm.
Right, in a major way. Probably zero, right? But
Yeah,
yeah,
zero.
yeah,
Yeah,
in the major way.
Yeah.
There's been some little tweaks here and there, and some things that
yeah.
that have happened, but nothing like that has Iris hasn't fallen, or the
No.
Scarlet Brother
No,
has been
that
thwarted.
try stay away from the
Yeah,
big thing.
yeah, from the
Yeah,
big from that big picture.
biggest. Yeah,
So
but
yeah,
I
go
love
ahead.
to when I world build or kind of come up with my campaigns. I usually bounce up and down. I usually start with the big picture, meaning I want to have like, what is the situation in this? I took like Shieldlands. I start to figure, okay, what is the situation in Shieldlands? What territory do they control, and where do ES come in, and what are they overall kind of structure, meaning who is on the brink of collapse and who is building strength, etc. And then when I have that general kind of an idea of how to attack these, I've read the lore of the stuff, and I have 10 big NPCs on each side. Then I switch from, then I have that overview and the background. Then I switch perspective. Okay, who is on the ground doing this?
Right.
What NPCs would be logical to have in this environment, so to speak. And then I invent 200 of them, give them a name, 1 or 2 sentence, put them there. No stats. I don't bother about that. Just a name, or sometimes just a sentence, whatever, say farmer objective, blah, blah, something. And I'll just pile them up and spread them out. But I usually give them a name for fun's sake, so to speak, and a purpose. And that way I have them sprinkled out and I have them dense around where the players are. And then they are only the more important ones are further away, so to speak. Because what I can do is that as they get tugged down and torn apart and killed in the story, I can bring them in, so to speak. And when the characters move, I have ammunition for the stories to build upon, so to speak. And that way, and I still have the big picture in the background because that's what drives the motivations, meaning are they starving? Is there a big harvest coming? Do they know about some major event that happened back in the story? Are they terrified of something that happened in history? And stuff like that.
So Ed, let's do a little thing here. I want you,
Uh-oh.
and you'll know where this joke's going.
Yeah.
I want you for 10 seconds to be you're Ravalantar in my game. What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah,
in the
what are you
game?
doing in Ravalantar? Come on.
Oh, what Ravalantar
What's
doing now?
Ravalantar doing right now if he's in a
Is-
group and you're out in a dungeon somewhere in my game?
I
he's
thought he
out
was
in a
downtown.
dungeon.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, because I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
I
what
thought
do you?
downtime.
What's Ravalantar doing? Walking anywhere in my campaign setting. What is Ravalantar doing?
I would think right now, Ravalantar would be in the city. He'd be drinking, not to excess, meaning he'd be touring the bars. He'd be trying to take his measure, listening to rumors and what's
Okay.
going on, and who is like in the latest news right now.
Okay.
What are they doing, and what's going on, and why? Because the thing about Ravalantar is, so far, and don't get me wrong, I love the Lort Mills, although I'm seeing way too much of them.
Yeah. That's all right.
Uh,
It's going to change shortly.
Oh, okay. But I mean, the thing is, because we're always out in the Lort Mills, I would have the feeling that my character doesn't have his ear to the ground with what's going on in the city. And he'd better be having his ear to the ground because he thinks like that's where the real foes are, other intelligent
Mhm.
adventurers.
Yeah.
And you saw the name of the Gary Con adventure too.
Yes, the Deadly Challenge.
So why don't here? I want. Can we scare Ed? So that's great, Ed. But my joke was like this: Ravalantar looking behind himself constantly.
Yes, because he's a wizard.
Yeah, I know. You're always worried I'm coming. Yes. So I'm gonna here. Let's go through this description here and see if we can have a little fun with this real quick, and then we'll call it we'll do our shout outs here. So I got to come here. I got to go to Gary Con, my events. Since they're in events, my schedule. And we come down here, and whoops, I got to do my events. Sorry, I got to do it that way.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Platinum.
Yeah. Yes, home, and do it this way. Submit events, and they'll show mine. Okay. The Deadly Challenge. Here we go. Here's what it says. The Greyhawk mage Ravalantar and his companions, 2-drink minimum, have made a name for themselves in Altamir in a very short period of time. Apparently, not everyone is pleased with their rise to notoriety. You like that? Join Ed, Greenwood, Tony, Eric, Darling, and we'll see who else. Anna, and we'll see who. In the challenging mission, the Orderville campaign, level 7 to 9, character sheets provided. We've got 3 open signups for it this time. The Deadly Challenge.
The Deadly Challenge. So Jay's gonna kill me at Gary Con.
No, I'm just gonna challenge you like I always do. Right? We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun.
F-bomb.
There you go.
F-bomb.
Outside, no Lort Mills in this one. So I just want to say, gonna be Darling's gonna be playing Rosie for that one too. She's gonna be playing Rosie Applebottom for that adventure there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think she'll be playing Rosie, and but just wanted to give you a little tidbit of what I've come up with for. So when Yeah,
I prepare for Gary Con by saying I'm going to have a good time with friends.
that's exactly what we're
Jay
gonna do.
prepares for Gary Con by saying I'm going to kill Ed.
I didn't kill you last year or the year
That's
before.
true.
I
That's
let
true.
you 2 years ago. I let you do a short rest, even though it's so.
Yeah.
yeah, we're
So when can I have my next short rest, Jay? I'm old.
2028.
2028. Oh, I love it. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Wait, is that the next election?
Yes.
Oh, is
the
it? I didn't even
next
realize
major
that.
election.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't even realize that was that was a
That was
connection
a
there.
Freudian slip.
Yeah,
Jay.
probably
Yeah.
Probably was. So, yep.
I love it.
But just
Oh,
know, gaming goes on no matter where you are in that. Let's all keep it. We'll always keep it out of it, and that we all are friends. Everyone knows
Yep.
Anna and I are on the exact opposite ends of the political spectrum, but we're good friends because we understand that life's
I
going to
wouldn't
go
say
on the day
exactly
after.
the opposite because I
Well, you're right. You're right. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
you're right.
I'm center
have some
left
crossover.
and you're center right.
Yes.
Because I don't
Yeah, true.
think for a second that you're the one that want to see me as the enemy within and want to send me to the
No.
gulag. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I don't
yeah.
see anyone as an enemy.
and you see,
Yeah.
I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
So
You see, I'm-
meaning
I'm-
all
You're
you
an
guys
observer.
all you
Yeah.
guys are fascists,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
You see, left and right are meaningless.
Yes.
You know,
That's true.
Yeah.
outside
Yeah.
outside
Yeah.
I'm come from. Ed, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm a Swede, so
Yeah,
I'm kind of
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
We are very similar in that sense. Yeah.
But the camaraderie in the gaming has got to in here in the community. It's got to take precedent because
Yep.
Yes.
everyone's got a different theory on politics. That's why you just keep it out. Politics in the Greyhawk are great, right, Anna? That's where you.
And
yes.
thankfully, it's still more dangerous than
Yeah, it is.
politics.
That's where
which
your
is
politics
good.
should be.
Yeah, which good.
I mean, we
yeah.
all have it. I got two thieves guilds right now trying to kill each other in Altamira. Right? I mean, that's where the politics is. So, and we'll go there a little bit more too. It's going to be a little, we're going to have some city intrigue at Gary Con is all I'm saying, Ed, which is going to be fun.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Uh-oh.
only
I
two?
mean-
Yeah. Two Thieves Guilds and one Bounty Hunters Guild. Any other questions? Myself, Anna, or Ed, concerning the topic or something else
Or,
you'd like to know?
something,
Yes, as
something other.
we're on for a little bit longer here, and then we'll,
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed this discussion. I've had a blast. And Ed
Yeah,
already,
it was,
already
I
gave
think
me
it was. Hope it was.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a blast too. So I hope everyone had fun listening
Yeah.
to this. Yep.
Altamira is a fun thing, and like I said, Ed was kind enough to do something for the publication for Luke Gygax already, which is great. Our next meeting for him is with Luke's tomorrow night, which is awesome. So we got things rolling there too.
Nice.
So.
I've sent you the file.
Yeah, I got it
tonight.
on
Good,
Discord
good,
already.
good.
Thank you so
Good.
much. Is there a
No
similarity with Laeral during her possession by the crown and Igwolf and Greyhawk?
Ooh.
That was a tricky one. Yeah.
I don't think so.
No. I'm trying to think. You see, Laeral goes into madness. It's a it's a bloodlust hunting reverie. You're lost in the I want to kill, I want to kill, I want to kill. You remember the Alice's Restaurant Massacre? When he's jumping up and down in the Group W bench going, I want to kill, I want to kill. Because he's lost in that. And the good part of that is when she comes out of it, it's been very cathartic. She's gotten all that I want to kill everybody out of her system.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's the one thing she can't do when she's being a chosen administrum, being a goody two shoes, and doing what the goddess says, good or bad, is she can't cut loose. She's a servant of the goddess, and she has to do what strike with precision, so to speak. And now she's gotten all of that out of her system because she's had a chance to vent. So yeah, it
she
isn't
got
the
flushed.
same.
Now Igwolf has lost some of the edge, and we don't need to. We can go into that another time. I mean, Watsy's demeaned her. So, but if you know Shokanth and you know all the stories back then, I mean, Igwolf, that's where I go. It's just like D3. I go to D3 for my drow. I go to Shokanth and those stories for Igwolf, and just
And the problem with making making everything
got it.
kinder and gentler
Yep.
is it ruins
It's all good.
the adventuring
Yeah,
opportunities.
you mean you have to have a certain level of drama to make it really interesting when you run a role-playing game campaign.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, too cuddly and it loses the edge that at least how far you need to go, that's different, but at least you need to have some level of it that satisfy your adventure lust and gives attention to it and an urgency and so on. But you can always it's a balancing act, and it's up to the party, the players, the DM, the situation. So yeah. And so it's every table is different on how much drama you want and what kind and how hard you can push the certain buttons. For some players, some drama they need way more to even make it fun, and some other players in a group might say, "Oh, no, this is too much. We're not having fun anymore." And that's the tricky bit as a DM, and both as a DM as a player. If you run the table, you're partially responsible to keep that level reasonable for everybody else, so to speak.
Yeah.
Both up and down, so so to speak, to boost it up enough so you can all have fun, and then to tone it down so you can have fun at times. So yeah.
And you're having fun if your players keep coming back.
Mm-hmm.
No
Yep.
DM is infallible either. We all make mistakes. We all
Yeah.
do something
Mm-hmm.
stupid. We all forget things.
Yep.
That's why you overplan. You forget stuff.
Mhm.
But if you don't plan enough,
Yep.
then you're rushing around, and then you're forgetting other things.
Yeah, and role-playing game, it's an interesting combination of planning and flying by the seat of your pants.
Improvising
Because a
and
game,
planning. It's a
yeah,
mix.
you need to have some sort of
Yeah.
planning
Yeah.
and at least learn the rules and so on. And you need to have a lot of spur of the moment inspiration. And it's a combination of the two, so to speak, that makes another thing that I think it makes it fun and interesting as a hobby, because it spans both. You can be anal and plan for years,
Yeah.
decades, and still have to
Yep.
be inspired by the moment, so to speak, and so on.
Well,
So, yeah.
you see, I grew up in Canada, caught forever between the United States and Britain, culturally.
Mhm.
And I heard from a lot of old British war veterans who'd retired to Canada because they could get cheaper houses and land out here. So after the war, they retired to Canada, and now they were growing old and dying. And their joke criticism of the Yanks was, yeah, the Yanks do everything wrong. They practice beforehand. When they have sports events, their teams actually practice beforehand. That ruins the fun.
Yeah. it's true.
Because from their point of view, it did. Because if you were in the village pub getting drunk, so we're talking old men with braces, and somebody would come in the door and say, okay, they need another 3 for cricket out here, and they drain their pints and hitch their braces up and go out and play, and everybody would fall in their faces or screw up because they are not professional players, and they're half drunk and everything, but they had a lot more fun because it was like, you guys practice beforehand. That ruins the whole point. And of course, the Americans would say, you realize we bet on these games.
Yeah, that's it. Gambling.
Yeah, and of course, to a Brit, it's like, well, duh, because they bet on everything. But but the fact that you would use that as an excuse for why we have to practice beforehand, because people are putting money down. It's like, yeah, so. And it's just the difference culturally. It was hilarious to hear this. So yeah. Anyway.
Turtle Hurdler, that's cool. So you're going to be diving into the Time of Troubles. You've been all newer 5e stuff, and it's just started getting the older material from AD&D. There's so much cool. Turtle Hurdler, there is so
awesome.
That's where I live. I live in the old school D&D 1e, 2e reference books, but I pull stuff from 3e into my game. I pull, whenever I find a good spell, I don't care what edition it is, I back convert it in. Ed knows I use them all against him. Ed spells all the time in his books that aren't Greyhawk based. I will pull them into my campaign. And that's the thing. You do the research, find stuff you like, and go, wow, this is cool. I guarantee, and this is why we are all so excited here, and I know Ed is too, because Ed has been such a proponent of helping us with Greyhawk, and Ed goes, "It's coming." DMs goes, "It's coming. It's coming." For 6 to 9 months, Ed's been saying that, and then it did happen, and this is an opportunity for us. I don't really, and I know some people may get angry at me. I don't care what they did with the Greyhawk setting in the Dungeon Master's Guide, because it's fine. It's a starting point for them. We got cool maps out of it, and now these people coming in are coming and want to know more about the whole thing. And there's publications you're never going to see unless you're on a show like this, or you're in a blog with Joe Block, or you're in a, in another discussion somewhere, or you go on a Mike's blog post, or David Leonard's or whatever, and you find out all this stuff, or you find out about the hateful wars, and you're like, oh my god, this stuff's awesome. That's the whole point of it, and that's where I think Ed, you agree on that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I want to see Greyhawk fly. They
Yeah.
are not competitors of the Realms and Greyhawk. It's sort of like
Yep.
the buffet gives me twice as many things to pick from with 2 settings as if 1.
Yeah.
And the same thing, I don't consider Dragonlance a competitor. I don't consider Mistar a competitor. They're all worlds that were taken from us untimely, because the company made the decision that they were cannibalizing their audience by publishing
Hey,
them all.
Coco! I didn't even know you were streaming. That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, it's
Yep.
I want them all because I'm a greedy
Awesome.
gamer. I want them all.
Yeah, because they are different in different aspects, and they're more food for thought, so to
Great to
speak. So
see ya.
inspirational sources. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, Coco. I really appreciate you coming in here. Just in time for the giveaway. Exclamation point drawing. It's a double winner. Winner's going to get 2.
Hi, Coco.
So
Hello.
Brevin just put up a stuff, and he talked about facing avatars, which was assisted writing by Eric Boyd, and then he wrote the other 2 after that. But so Ed, we have a shower state. We have showers in my game, and the spells in there that Eric said he got snuck in, like intensify sensation.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Which is really intensify O, right?
Yes.
It's exactly what it is. But she's like, ooh. So one of Tim's players, Puff, she's like, that's I want to play that character, and it went great. Yeah. And so now we have a Sharis priest, but she was doing her normal stuff, fighting with Scimitar, casting healing spells and stuff, but then doing all the other things. So yeah, it was fun. It was.
There are certain deities that I couldn't, for the code of conduct, Shares and Loviatar.
Yes,
I
I've Loviatar too, from Deities Demigods.
Yeah, you can't be flogging each other.
Right, you got to be a little diplomatic in how you say it.
Yeah. So we had to leave a lot unsaid. The only pity about that is, because of the code of conduct, it didn't just apply to those deities. It was all of the deities. They wanted me not to have prayers.
I have Elminster too.
Not to have rituals.
And Red Knight.
Not to have your taboos and do's and don'ts, what you wear, all the trappings of an organized religion were things that I largely couldn't go into. Yeah. And I handed my notes to Julia Martin and Eric, and you see that they were writing just a little bit later. And by then, the game had opened up enough that they could realize, oh, gamers need to know this stuff. So the same way every time we do an edition of the game, we take poisons and insanity out because of moral reasons. Teenage mothers from heck, the satanic panic. We don't want to give them ammo so that we won't be carried in these particular stores in the Deep South. But gamers need them. So every time they go back into the game, because gamers need them in a particular adventure, so they put them in. And that's the thing. We didn't get to explore. I would love to have had all of the face, have all that stuff. If you're a cleric, you don't just, because got to remember, in the early days of D&D, there were a lot of people who played a cleric as a fighter who couldn't use edged weapons and sold their healing to their fellow party members. How mercenary is that? But because they didn't have anything else to run their character on. Whereas if they'd had a series of do's and don'ts, you are of the faith of Heroines. Here's what you believe in. Here's what you do. Here's what you're forbidden to do. Here's what the god wants you to do. And then suddenly playing a holy person is restrictive. and people want to do it because they believe in it or want to do it. They don't want to do it just because, hey, I get healing spells I can sell to the rest of my party. You know.
Yes. Yep. Michael Baton, the ultimate anti-hero in my campaign. So yes, who's currently a revenant. Yeah, fun stuff. So, what a great discussion tonight. And thank you all, man. For being on. This has been wonderful. Fates and Avatars, list of resources to read. You should get Fates and Avatars and Pages from the Mages. They are both. The spells in there are awesome. Both books. Both books. Definitely. Lots of great resources in both those. And they're compilations of mostly Dragon magazine articles. Both those. Yeah. So, yep. Yes, he did. He did. He wrote up a series of Greyhawk deities, but he gave them some. We have them. We went over them with Eric when he was on. When he, Malden, and I. That's a great Gabin. Talking about specialty second edition specialty priests. That's the one you want to look up. So if you want to go on a lot, they're all on YouTube. Just go to a Gabin and type specialty priest or deity or whatever, and you'll be able to find that discussion. And that's a great one because Eric Boyd's sharing a lot of that information. So yeah, all the past Gabins and Legends and Lures are all on. They're 90 days on Twitch, but they're on YouTube forever. So that's where you need, because Twitch only stores for 90 days. So they all get ported over there tomorrow morning or late tonight, after each stream. So yeah, great point. All right. So Ed, what can you share that's coming up with you? I know a lot of stuff is under NDA, but what do you got going on?
Oh boy. Okay, I continue to spend every time every month detailing Viking ruled Dublin Ascleas for the Fate of the Norns game. I am working on something I can't talk about for GUI Cube.
Yep.
And I also working on things for GUI Cube I can talk about. A Trouble with Rats and its sequel for the Tomb of Geisengax, working with Luke Gygax, and I'm also working on other things for GUI Cube I can't talk about down the road. And I'm also working on a humorous Terry Pratchett type humor fantasy story for a game I can't talk about yet, but I have to write it all this month. So in probably about 3 days, which is how we do all our best work. On deadline when there's no time left. And that's basically what I can talk about right now. I have the usual 5 million irons in the fire. So if I don't get back to you right away about something, it's because I am so incredibly busy. I get about 3 hours of sleep a night and don't know what I'm doing or my own name most of the time. That's just the flight of the bumblebee these days.
So if you are able, I'm hoping from after the surgery that I'll be free and clear a week or two after Thanksgiving. My 3-year partner stream event is Thursday, December 5th. Just let me know if you can hop on for a little bit that night.
Thursday,
December 5th. Yeah, let me just make sure I'm giving you the right date. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have, because now you can set, like, I think it's normal. It's supposed to be December 2nd, but it's not a stream day for me. So now you can set it to within a week before or after. So, yep, Thursday, December 5th. Thank you, Brevin. Well, I don't hide anything, but I have prostate cancer, and a week from tomorrow, I'm going under the knife to get it removed, and hopefully I'll be cancer free at that point. But thank you for the kind words. So and everyone's been giving me great thoughts and prayers, and I really appreciate it. But yeah, so that week up through, I think that week next week, after and all the way through up to Thanksgiving, I won't be streaming, but we'll see, as I recover. But yeah, that would be. Ed, just let me know because I'm going to do some kind of special one shot that night, so to celebrate. And I also requested it to be on Twitch front page. So
all right,
2, 3, yeah, exactly. So yeah, thanks, Mike, thanks.
So what you're telling me is I have to behave that night.
No, that's the best night, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, behave in a positive or chaotic or lawful manner
guys.
as needed.
We got 3 streams still. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We got 3 more streams still. So I'll go over that in a second. Before that, Anna, what do you got going on?
Oh, okay. So I just released available. Hopefully, can hang on a second. I'll go to copy the link
yeah,
and put that in there for my Patreon. My GIS project is well underway, and it will be the first version of the Greyhawk. The whole Flanese map will be out by Christmas. This is a full
Oh, nice.
full test map, so to speak. So I exported to see if QGIS could handle it, and my computer can handle it, and my skills. So this is a full version of the GIS map as it stood a couple of weeks ago, and so it's a full export out. It's not fully polished. There are still issues here and there and stuff. But it was a way to test that my computer and my skills and stuff are up to the job of actually getting all the map data. We're talking thousands and thousands of data points, so to speak, that needs to be plotted out and that looks nice and so on, and layered and all that. So it looks good. It's looked much better than I was hoping the first version should do. There's a little bit of issues. I'm testing a few things like the name of the country names. I'm using a bright version instead that are used overlaid on the terrain because it's less intrusive with the details, and it's very visible when you have the map zoomed out, and it kind of fades away when you get close. So that's kind of so we'll see what the final. There's still things that need to be tweaked, especially with the presentation that will need to be tweaked. There are some issues with labels overlapping each other in the way they shouldn't, etc. And there's a couple of labels that have a tendency of disappearing because they are stacked on top of each other. So there are a couple of these issues that needs to be solved and figure out what to do best, so to speak. But and otherwise, almost I have 98% of all the stuff is in there. The provincial and local names of like provinces and so on. That's the only thing that I have left to do, so to speak. And then it's a final go over the map country by country and verify that each thing looks good, so to speak. And then so the goal is to have it out by Christmas, and it looks like that's going to happen. And this is the first version of getting all the data in there, and then create at the same time create the presentation that can be used digitally. And when that is done, there will be a geo package with all this data coming out to all my patrons, hopefully by Christmas for the holidays, that you can download and use in your QGIS, make your own version of it.
Is this
and
the 5-foot detail map? Is this 5 foot?
No,
this
this is the QGIS version of GIS version of the existing map, so to speak.
Okay,
yeah. But that's the next step, so to speak. Then, because I have for my campaign map, I have a version of Shieldland using this that is 5 foot with all the details and stuff. But I will not do that first. What I will do is in spring there will be a series of print versions of this map that will be created for print. So there will be like the 24 by 36, etc., and so on. And we'll see what sizes will the and what scale. So there will be a series of prints, probably the whole Flanese map, the in various sizes, and then there will be regional maps and stuff like that. So I will do various things for print because people have been asking for years. So that's something to do early next year.
Awesome.
And after that, we'll see what I will do because I have a whole bunch of other stuff lined up. I have a series of other icons. So you can do spread maps and a whole bunch of stuff like that. Make an online version of this, and there's a whole bunch of things that people want me to do. But the cool thing is that you will get all this data. You will get the whole thing, all the source material, everything. So you can take this and make your own version of. That's the idea, so to speak. So you can do this in parallel. If you don't like it the way I do it, make it your own way, so to speak. So that's coming. So that's the next big thing to get this out of the door, because this is the 20-year upgrade, so to speak. And it looks much better than the existing map already, and it has way more possibilities than the old Illustrator map. So, yep.
So, okay, what's going on? No Thursday game upcoming this week, and the reason is the Eagles play. Eagles play Washington. It's at home. My guys are like, no, so it's a football. One time a year it happens. They play a Thursday night game, and it just happens to fall now. So no game Thursday. We will have a stream. We'll have Legends Lore Wednesday. It's either going to be the following two topics: Elves of Greyhawk or the works of Leonard Lakofka. I'm not sure which one yet. Anna and I will go over that. Which one we want to do. I think I'm leaning toward the elves. I'm leaning toward the elves. Realms of the elves and all that stuff because we haven't done one since it's been 180 episodes.
Exactly. We haven't done
Yeah,
elves
so I
in
think
forever. That's a
Yeah.
fun one.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think that's what we're gonna do.
Yep.
No game Thursday, and then we have Saturday morning. And here, let me bring this up. It will be our last RPG before I go out, and that is going to be Nuclear Meat. Why didn't that switch? There we go. So we got Coco, Sir Timothy, Korg the Mighty, and Rachel and Mark from Marquee Gaming. What's up, Tino? Thank you. And called Trust Your Eyes, adventure number 1078. I think that's right, or is it? I think that's wrong, actually. No, that should be 1079. That is actually wrong. I got to update that. I was off by one. 1079. And that'll be. I know it's insane, Ed. I had 1,000 June of last year, so 2,000 I guess is probably 8 to 10 years off. So yeah.
Jay, you just put a lumberman's tally on the cell wall.
Yeah, that would do it. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're getting there, but it's going to be a fun group. So that'll be my last RPG for a couple weeks. Hopefully it's not for long. Next Sunday will be Gabin. I'll have that the night before, 7 o'clock, and I'm leaning toward the state of Greyhawk with the DMG guide. I think I'm leaning toward finally doing that or having an aspect discussion. We'll see. All right, but we'll worry about that during the week as it comes up. Ed, Anna, thanks. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, and thank you, Ed, and thank you
Yeah,
everybody
this was great.
chat to watch this. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, last call, exclamation point drawing. Winner gets their choice of 2 reprints. All right. Yes, Big Mac says thanks for answering their Spelljammer question. So there you go. Yeah, we can answer that before the seminar. I think that was okay, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was a good one. So thank you all. All right, here we go. Let me set this up here, and let's see who wins this, and then we will. I got too much. I got too many things going on. What did I do with my? That is weird.
I don't know, Jay. I don't know what you did with it.
All right, what did I lost a? This is strange. I kind of lost my one. Oh, it's right in front of me. See, I'm getting loopy. It's wireless, duh. I use a trackball here. Where's the button? Oh my god. All right, give me 1 sec here. Let's set it up. I lost something.
Lost the marble. Yeah.
I lost something there. I just don't worry. It went.
Jay, you will be fine.
Ed, thanks, man. Thanks.
You will be fine.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate a lot of people were. I felt bad because I told Heather Hex was crying on stream when we finished. I'm like, Heather, it's okay. It's okay. I just felt so bad. But it was really kind of her. So here we go. The winner tonight is Dale Assure the Bear. I'll be giving Dale normally stuff he doesn't have. I got to delve deep. Into it. So please sit tight. Let's go into Darling with 120. Let's get a monster rate. Please sit tight on this. Go in, say hi to Darling, and stick around if you can. She's pushing the partner as well as Bird. I rated into Bird yesterday when we finished, so she's doing really well too. Both of them, I wish them all the best. So Anna, Ed, thanks. And thank you for the content, Ed. Like I said, we're going to put that in the next visions. That's definitely going in. See you all Wednesday night, okay? I'll keep you posted also on how our project with Luke's going, which we have that tomorrow night. So we'll see you soon. I know I'm getting the wrong button. Awesome, great show. Ran a little late. Sorry about that. Dun, 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 dun. Do I hit the right raid button now? Stream manager. Raid. Search. Darling.
Go on. Hit all the buttons.
Yes, hit them all. Alright, if we go with 120, Darling may have almost 150 people in, which would be so awesome. Alright, look at that. Wow, it's already over 100. 108, 111. Wow, 112, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your night. Wow. Monster.
Nice.
Good one. 113. Yeah.
Nice.
awesome. Great